cold cases to serial killers, missing persons, and more.
100% he did this.
I'd go off into fantasy world.
How much more lucky can you get that you're not on death row?
You want to know what we know.
My name is Jay. This is Guilty of Crime.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. I came on a little early today so we can do a proper stream of Sarah Boone. I covered this in a members only, and then I released it later, so who knows what anybody saw. But if we want to start off now, we got to do a quick backstory, let everyone know, because there are people that haven't heard of Sarah Boone, the suitcase killer. There are other cases that are called the suitcase killer, and this is not that. This is this one. And in this one, well, I'll tell you in a minute after I say hello. And also, don't forget to hit the like button. If you're on the rewatch crew and you're just finding this video, please subscribe. It definitely helps the algorithm and it'll help get the notifications out. So hit the like button, subscribe, all the stuff. Today we're talking about Sarah Boone making moves and motions, and I'm going to do a backstory, just a little bit of a backstory. That's why I'm on a little bit early, so everybody can kind of see what happened and a few of the other motions, and being on her ninth attorney, which is her now. And she is actually making motions. She won a motion, but I feel like she slid by with that. And how did she do this time? Well, I don't know. I'm going to say hello real quick. Jackie B, what's up? I saw Michelle up here as well, Lalonde, saying she made it. So I wanted to say hi also to Deborah Rockhill, what's up? Crystal Burns, Michelle, and all the mods. Jojo, Wolfpack, that Carly's here, Bree, and Petty Deb. What's up, Marissa Fontaine? You guys are all here nice and early. And I see Manic Mama T on here. Also Adam, of course. Love Adam. Love you, Adam. Hope you're having a good one today. It's Friday. All right. Sometimes it doesn't mean anything to anybody, but it means a lot when you have kids in school. And my daughter is better, by the way. Full recovery. No more fever. What's up, Miss Luna? Where did I see you in chat? Was it What's the Obsession or Grizzly True Crime? I think it was What's the Obsession. So what's up? Sweetie, hello. Adam. All right. So let's get into this. I guess what I'll say first real quick, I'll pull up the first video that we're going to do, and then I'll just talk. I'll talk about now, remember, this has been 4 years, folks. This is February 25th, 2020. It doesn't seem like it's been 4 years, right? That's kind of crazy that it's been that long. But it has been that long. And I almost feel like if Sarah would have got a proper attorney, she could have probably got a plea deal or just went through a real trial already and have a lot of time served and be able to get out. So I'm not sure if she's doing this as a strategy. I'm not sure if she's that smart or if she's just that dumb and she's messing up all of her chance to be free sooner. What's up, Malibu Surfer? And Tiffles, Wolfpack, hey. Karina, what's up? California, baby. California love, absolutely right. She's dragging this case out, but you got to remember it's time served, and each day in jail, not prison, when you're serving jail time here or there, when you're serving jail time, it's a day and a half of credit. So by the time it's actually not just 24 hours, it's a full day and a half. So if she goes 4 or 5 years without trial, they're going to give her 365 days, and then each day gets a half a day. So Sarah Boone makes me want to pull my hair out. She makes all of us want to do that. Let me pull this up and then she makes us all do that. And I can't understand if it's her it makes me wonder actually if it's her trying to be obnoxious and annoying, or is that really who she is as a person? Because if so, I can see why George felt the way he did. And I'm not saying did what he did because I don't know. I do know there were abuse charges before. I know that there's court documents of these two fighting and hitting each other, domestic violence charges on both of them against each other. I know there is some audio and video of that. I don't have it, but I know it exists. What's up, Randy? Always love Randy. You're not late, Rosie. I started early so I could give a backstory and say hello. Nuts, nuts, nuts. All right. So, anyway, this was 4 years ago. Let me just briefly tell you Sarah Boone called 911 and she told them that her boyfriend, Jorge Torres, was dead. She claimed that she and Torres had one bottle of wine, and decided to play hide and seek. She then claimed that that it would be funny to put him in a suitcase, and they're both laughing. She stated that when she went upstairs, she accidentally fell asleep, leaving Torres in the suitcase. Now, we all know Sarah didn't think she was going to go to jail that day or any other day, and his death was ruled a homicide. So the next day, Boone was asked by the police to go in for an interview. During the interview, the forensic investigator asked her for her phone. Sarah, get a lawyer. This is where she keeps messing up, folks. Yeah, Tiffles, an interview from her ex-husband's son's father. That would be good. We did see footage of that. I want you to remember that. And we're going to go deep into this case. So today we're starting from ground one so that I can say, go to my playlist and listen to Sarah Boone, and you can start on an episode and really understand what we're talking about. I didn't want to jump in halfway. So if you see my title, it's kind of just like, a motion hearing and Sarah fights back. So yeah, May, and what's up, Rosie? Sarah Boone just lied her whole way through, and she didn't get a lawyer, and she still doesn't have a lawyer, but she served a lot of time already. And I think in the way this is, with the homicide, it's second degree. I don't know what her length is going to be. Now, just quickly, we got to remember Jorge Torres. I know we forget him in this shit show of a case. And again, it's in Florida, Winter Park, Florida. Lots of cases in Florida. George was 42 years old, and he suffocated to death on February 24th, 2020. After being zipped in the suitcase, Sarah was 42. Now she's coming up on, or is 46. She was arrested the following day. Now, remember, she's got second degree murder. That doesn't hold a lot of weight. Sometimes if you have a good lawyer, it won't be so bad. So what's up, Marilyn McCrae? How's everybody doing? What are you guys talking about in chat here? And what's up, Twisted Quill? Good evening. And don't forget to hit the like button, folks. We want to get in that algorithm. All right. So Tiffles, after hearing, I'm trying to hear what you're saying, or read what you're saying, but I can't keep up. Intuitive alchemy. Sarah Boone is batshite crazy, right? She absolutely is. And that's what we're talking about today. I'm glad you all know what this is about, this case, because prior to George's death, he actually was arrested multiple times for alleged incidences of domestic violence against Boone. And she had also been arrested one time for alleged incidents of domestic violence against him. So Boone had been arrested once for battery by strangulation against Torres in July 2018. When Boone and Torres were arrested together, her charge was dismissed. Torres had been arrested 4 times for alleged battery against Boone, and Boone actually bailed Torres out of jail each time. Boone was subsequently charged with second-degree murder right now, and she's held in Orange County Jail, which is in Florida. She's written letters to trial judges stating that she is not represented fairly. 8 different attorneys. She's her 9th one, and now she's doing this herself. So mark your calendar. October 7th is when the trial date is set for. All right. So let's go over this stuff so we can see the suitcase, see the deal. And I even found a video of images or like a video inside of her house, people. That was pretty cool to see how cramped and small that house is. I didn't realize that. What's up, Yvette Finn? Thank you for becoming a new member. Sarah's the ultimate Karen, right? Man, I watch Karen videos because my daughter will put those on, and it's crazy. Let's just speed this up and hear what they have to say, and then we'll she was 42. Look at that. Sarah Boone, 42 is charged. Let's listen to some of this crazy stuff, and then we'll get into the hearing. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Thinking from Court TV viewers, because we air over in the UK, and we'll be talking about that a little bit more. But since our last report, just within the past hour, I'm hearing from a lot of Court TV viewers, and they're blowing up Twitter. They're sending you and I both messages about this case. They are watching very closely. And some of the things that everybody, including us, we are watching for to see if she is actually going to be in court today and the role that she's going to play and how she presents herself. She has been in court, not every single hearing, and she's been very...
All right, folks. So my camera looks like it went out on my side. Can you see me? Because I might have to... I actually might have to refresh, folks. So hold on. I'll be right back. Dang. All right. I am back. I'm sorry about that. Maybe I'll get more people coming on here. All right, let's get back to it. Sorry about that. Can't control it.
Very upset about that. How do I know? Well, she writes the judge and she writes her attorney. She's on attorney number 6 when it comes to public defenders. Another interesting thing about this case.
Correction, she's on attorney number 9, and that's herself. But I just want you to see some of this and the suitcase murder and what has gone wrong. What's the problem with this? And it shows you a little bit about this, but it also talks about the communication between the attorneys and how crazy she is. So, and also I wanted to make sure we see that infamous suitcase that had Paul cracking up yesterday. Remember Paul DeMolo? We got him laughing, folks. You people that were with me yesterday witnessed something pretty great when you can go from being upset to laughing. Then I think we did a good job yesterday with him. How about you? Yes, Rosie, it's a good day to laugh, and I have some eye candy for you also, folks. So stay here. All right. Yes, I'm back. Did we land? Yes. All right, let's go.
You know, it involves one room and a man that died in a suitcase, but there is so much evidence. There's forensic evidence. There is cell phone forensic evidence. There's going to be the background of these two, their history, and there's going to be also all of her videos explaining away what happened that night. Take a listen.
The problem is I fell asleep. When did you do CPR? This morning, when I found it. Before you called? Yes. 1 o'clock right now. I was awake, but I actually got out of the bed at like 12:30ish, whatever. So I came downstairs, and I was like, oh, he's in the suitcase still.
All right, some of the other information with this case, we know that there is going to be a battle of the experts, the defense. They have already gotten approval from the state to spend quite a bit of money when you think about it on experts, including more than $7,000 for a forensic expert of their own. This is J.D. Thomas. He's the founder of Forensic Consulting Services. He'll be used as an expert. They've hired a private investigator with prison break investigations, and they're also going to be hiring an expert with domestic.
By the way, I got to comment on that. That is just the most bogus name I've ever heard of. And when I looked at that website, I was like, what is this? Prison break? I mean, it just feels like some hokey private investigator company. I don't know. I'm just going to throw it out there. Yeah, Jojo, Looney Booney. And today's Friday, and I wish you all a happy Friday. And thank you all for being here today and supporting the channel. And I'm glad that you were there yesterday to see Paul laughing. He literally was in tears, and then he went to laughing, and we kept it nice and kept it that way and ended things on a good note. So that's our goal here. And you guys all helped. Everybody here helped. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. Evidence in her cell phone. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. We got to play that song, right? And also that her defense, not intentional. She said that so many times, but I wonder if she says it's not intentional, I swear on my son, if the judge and the jury are going to believe her. She might be making that fruity juice in there, that whatever juice they got going, the jungle juice.
Domestic violence psychologist. And Julie, I'm being told by our producers that are there in Florida right now. This is a bit of breaking news. She's not going to be in court today.
Oh, wow. That's disappointing.
And I'm sure disappointing for her as well.
Yeah. Wonder why. I wonder why.
I'll look into it.
Yeah. Thank you kindly for that, Matt. Because especially as you've told us, she wants to be very involved in her defense. She has a right to be present.
Come on, we all want her to be her own lawyer, and we want to see another Daryl Brooks. Let's be real. You just heard how disappointed she was that we didn't get to see a shit show that day, folks. But we do get to see a shit show today. So don't be disappointed. She's here. Moonshine, baby. If that's what you make, we'll call it that. All right, let's go a little bit forward because we don't need to hear all this. I just want to kind of get into things and see her in court and look at how she looks as she has been in jail for a while.
Respondents with her, again, she has past 6 attorneys and also the judges in all of this. She wrote some letters, and this involves some of that. We have some quotes for you. I would like to be a part of all proceedings that pertain to me. And then she wrote, please help me understand how Court TV, she names us, different news channels,
She's watching, Matt.
and even professional YouTubers, she puts professional in air quotes, YouTubers attend my pretrial conference and I cannot. So, and that's why I was saying when we first were talking about this case, why I think, how I think.
Wait, do we qualify as a professional YouTuber, folks? Because I've been called a low-level YouTuber. Let me know if we qualify as a professional YouTuber now. Wink, wink. All right.
That the UK viewers are the ones that are reaching out to her because she knows that Court TV is covering the case.
Yeah, who knows? We love our Court TV viewers in the UK and in the United States, so who knows? We'll see what happens here. Okay, Matt, well, thank you for that. We're going to go in live as soon as it begins. I know you're going to watch things closely with us and help us unpack it throughout the day. We'll see if we get some answers this morning. Let me bring in our guest. We have standing by a law enforcement expert guest to do some analysis with us. He's in the Woodlands, Texas.
Yeah, we're just going to listen to this, and then we'll see the suitcase, and we'll head to the next thing, because I don't want to watch the old hearings. I want to watch a new one. But I just wanted to kind of get going with this. And thank you, Marilyn. I appreciate that. I've graduated from low level to professional. MM says so too. And it's good to see you, MM. I didn't think I'd see you for a while. Man, I wish you would have been on there yesterday. All right, let's hear what they say.
This today, former DEA Senior Special Agent David Katz. David, good morning to you. Thanks for being on the program. I want to know what you think about this case. It's bizarre. Now we're hearing that she's going to be putting forth this defense of what's sometimes referred to as the battered wife defense, alleging that she's a victim of domestic violence and this all happened because of what she experienced. Tell us what you see as a law enforcement analyst, please.
You said bizarre. This is bizarre. I mean, murder by suitcase. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the idea that she actually could force this guy into the suitcase and zip it up. Was he drunk? Was he acquiescing to? I mean, I just don't get it. It's just, that is bizarre. And the fact that there are battered women who have taken steps against their abusers. I get that, and in most cases, when the abuse is real, I think human beings understand that completely. And we're generally on the side of the abused person who sometimes is not served properly by the criminal justice system. But for this particular case, I mean, she's got a really uphill battle. She's going to have to say that, or try to make the case that the only reason she took this guy, stuffed him in a suitcase, let him slowly suffocate to death is the fact that there's some prior abuse. Well, she's going to have to substantiate that. Is she going to have police reports? Has she made complaints? Has she made statements? Has she gone to the hospital? Is it emotional abuse? This is going to be a very, very tough road. So it's bizarre.
It really is.
So a lot of us do forget about George because she's taking up all of the stage, right? So, I mean, even we got the newscasters laughing. I wouldn't be surprised if the judge, laughs about this after hours. The judge is so very patient. We're going to see that today. Yeah, you guys, Brenda, if you weren't here a little bit ago, I talked about how they battered each other, and there's records of that. Both of them did. George was arrested 4 times for domestic violence on Sarah Boone, and one of the times she bailed him out. So you absolutely nailed that. You nailed that to a T. And what's up, Nets World? Stonefly Blue, if I didn't say hi to you, she's a freak show, and we forget about the victim sometimes, but it's a little lighthearted case. It's easier today. It's a Friday.
David, thank you for that. I've got more questions for you. I have a clip I want to play. This clip to me is pretty telling because this is right after police are called. They're on the scene. And one of the first things she says to the officer she's speaking with is how she has concern that Jorge Torres' family is going to think she killed him.
So, do you guys tell his family, like, today or after tomorrow? We have to. It's the law.
We have to go make contact.
Yeah.
Once our investigation is pretty much complete here, once we leave here, we will be going to...
But again, we'll know. I'm not going to just go into it without you knowing. We'll know. We'll talk to you prior to doing anything like that.
But I understand what you guys and how you do it, and, so, but, like, what do you just tell him? What do you tell his parents? Like, what's the reason as to why?
All right, and if you guys have seen this video, folks, if you've seen this video before, or you've been following this case, she asks the same thing when she's in the interrogation room as well. She keeps asking about, how should I tell the parents? Now they already know they're going to arrest her, but this lady is like, something's wrong with her brain. I don't know what it is. Not loony enough to not go on trial and get convicted, but I don't know if she's just messing with us all and the joke's on us, or if she's just batshit crazy. Because listen to the shit she's saying right here. I just can't even, it's unbelievable. Anyway, let's keep going. Just hearing how oblivious she is. No offense, Oblivious Benson.
We tell them what we know at that point.
Yeah.
We tell them the truth.
And that we're going to be waiting for the autopsy results, and I will get the autopsy in the morning, and hopefully the doctor will be able to give me some of what they think and see.
We'll give them their number. They can contact them and get it from them.
So yeah, they're gonna know what we're here, what we're investigating, and that they're gonna think I killed him.
Why would they think that?
They always have said that. They've always have said that. I told you it's because I'm the blue-eyed white dragon. That's what they call me. Because they don't want him with me. So he's basically just not really been around his family because he chooses me over them. Even after I've encouraged him numerous times to go there and see his family.
Okay, David, tell me, what did you think watching her with that, please?
I thought the same thing you thought.
I thought the same thing you thought. We both have smiles on our face, and they don't like her because she's the blue-eyed dragon, folks. It's not because they abuse each other and get arrested and then bail each other out, or because it's toxic. It's because she's white with blue eyes. And hello, Paul. Thank you for coming. I'm going to show that special video for you. And I'm glad you're here now because you're hearing the backstory, and that's awesome. So you actually really know this is true. Yeah, she's the white dragon. That was the problem. I think they're going to show the suitcase. If not, I'm just going to play the 2-minute clip of it if they don't show it in here.
Why would the parents just jump to the conclusion that I killed him? I guess what could be that? What could be that reason? Her demeanor when she's being interviewed. The earlier clip too, when the cop says, "Well, when did you start CPR?" The morning when I found him. It's 1 o'clock.
Yeah, after she went to bed, huh? Yeah, it's incredible to me how he's begging for help, begging for mercy, pleading for his life, saying he can't breathe, and she could go to bed. I'm thinking more like passed out. What do you think, David? They seem like there was a lot of drinking involved.
It's tough. She clearly, she's clearly indifferent to his plight. I can't imagine being inebriated to the point where I say, I know I was I had something to do. And
Paul, look at that. That's the suitcase right there. That's that infamous suitcase. And if you look at the suitcase in correlation to that dresser in the back, it's not much bigger. It's pretty small, actually. I have a clip of their house, and here it looks bigger, but it's really crowded and small. So I don't know where else he would hide other than a suitcase, I guess. Some people say it was a weird, kinky sex game. I don't know.
And gosh, I forgot. Oh yes, that was. I got it now. Unzip my boyfriend in the suitcase. This is just nuts. So I don't know if they've done an evaluation on this woman to see if she's sociopathic, But I'm going to go with she went to sleep, indifferent to his plight until I have some reason to believe otherwise.
David Katz, so glad we have you on the program. Stand by for more questions, if you would, please. We're going to squeeze in a break. We're being told that the judge is calling some other cases ahead of.
All right, we're not even going to watch. Split forehead. Watch a little bit of this.
He's accused of zipping.
Hold on.
Has been poring over documents and was managing to piece together a bit of a picture of their relationship that had lots of ups and downs.
Ma'am, good morning. Your name?
Sarah Boone.
45-year-old Sarah Boone is charged with the murder of her boyfriend, Jorge Torres. She's accused of zipping him up into a suitcase and leaving him there until he suffocated. But this wasn't the first time police were summoned to the couple's home. Court documents show they had a history of domestic violence.
At one point, I started documenting everything.
Okay.
So you all will see in my pictures, bloody fingers, split foreheads, he split my nose.
Sarah Boone and Jorge Torres began dating in March of 2016. After her arrest, allegedly for Torres' death, police interrogated Boone about their relationship that was often marred by violence.
So every time that you guys fight, you both hit each other? So you should have probably gone to jail all those times that he went to jail for domestic?
Oh, the one time I did.
In July of 2018, after a call to police, Torres told an officer that Boone strangled him until he was having trouble breathing. But she told police he dragged her up the stairs and kicked her. Both of them had injuries. Boone was arrested for aggravated battery by strangulation, and Torres was arrested for battery. Then in June of 2019, another report of domestic violence. Police noting Boone had red marks on her face and her neck. This time, only Torres was arrested for battery.
I had him arrested how many times?
But you also went down and doubled.
I know.
In August of 2019, Torres is again arrested for battery. This after Boone called 911, and both of them appeared to have minor injuries. According to the police report, Boone repeatedly says she is fed up with being hit. A week later, Torres is arrested again for allegedly hitting Boone. They've both been drinking, and when police arrive, Torres...
You guys can't make this stuff up, right? What's up, Athena? How you doing? You literally can't make this up. If I told you this story, you'd think I was bipolar and schizophrenic and whatever. Passed out. We only had a bottle of wine. Yeah, right. Did you hear her in that video? That's what she sounds like. Who is this? Not sure if this brought up. Has anyone seen a teenage Sarah on a kids game? Nickelodeon? No. Hamburger helper. It sounds like a kid saying hamburger helper, please. All right. Yeah, the jokes write themselves. We got to hear the drunk Sarah with the suitcase soon.
Is hiding in the bathroom. Less than 6 months later, Torres is dead after being left in a suitcase for hours. According to Boone, they were drinking and playing hide and seek. Police say Boone is to blame. They've charged her with second-degree murder. Oh my, what a history these two have, huh? I want to bring back in
the dynamic between these two is toxic, and yet what do? They keep living together. Just, you wonder why people do the things they do. And, if I could answer that question, I would be in great demand at solving these problems. But goodness gracious.
Right, David. I mean, there are even Facebook groups that are just made to discuss this case. There's so much interest in it. Our Matt Johnson was discovering all of these as he was doing research and reporting on this case for us. And I mean, look at all of them. These are just people just interested in just her case alone. And as I said at the start of our show this morning at 8 a.m., I can't even tell you if I had a nickel for every time I got a message of what's going on with the suitcase murder trial. I mean, I'd be rich. And I think I have an indication of what's going on. She is a difficult client. This is lawyer number 6 representing her, David. Lawyer number 6. And so that...
We're on lawyer number 9 now, everybody. So keep that in mind. Here's the ex-husband talking a little bit. I wanted to show bits and pieces of the case so we can just get a quick refresher that everybody's talking about. Otherwise, we'd be here for hours watching everything. But from here forward, we'll start digging in more and just hanging out, watching this stuff together. So again, thank you all for being here. Hit the like if you can.
Old police.
Got over here, told her she needed to call 911, get somebody over here. And then basically she said she needed to go outside, have a drink and cigarette.
Do you know if he has any medical issues or?
I don't.
Okay, but you've met him before?
I've met him before, yes.
Okay.
Yes, they've got a full fun history.
Oh, really?
Oh, you guys just called her.
For the two of them?
Yeah, he's been arrested like 5 times for cancer, so.
Really? Okay, I'm not familiar with I haven't been here personally. So they have
he's currently on parole because of it, so.
Because of domestic violence with her?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, from last time he got, retrial something or other. He had to go to a domestic violence class. I know he was doing it at a parole officer, stuff like that. But I mean, like, every time she'd have arrested, the next day she was trying to get bailed out of jail. So I don't know what it is.
Oh my! And David, the thing that jumped out at me here, and I'm a layperson, and I'm watching this. If I'm the police officer and you're hearing, he says he had to tell her to call 911.
So remember, everybody, she called her baby daddy. She called her ex for to tell him that that George was dead in a suitcase, and he came over and told her to call 911. Thank you, JoJo, for gifting a Guilty of Crime membership. I appreciate that. And that is not how you play hide and seek. I agree. It is really weird. Yeah, the ex seems somewhat normal. I just wanted to show you there is an interview with him that a lot of people ask about. And so I'll probably dig that up at some point, just not today. And yeah, hearts for George. Hopefully he gets justice, because we got to remember his family's involved. We saw the interview with his poor mom that's grieving heavily. All right, we're almost done with this. Then I'm going to do the suitcase one.
Like, she didn't think to do that. Oh my God, my boyfriend's dead. I need to try to get some help here. He looks like he's not breathing or alive.
No, she didn't. And you know better than that. The court chief, he's eating this case up, and I don't blame him. All right, I'm going to play this one just so we can see. Sarah, are you going to let me out? Yeah, she does have a son, and that's the dad of the son. So trigger warning, if it's too disgusting for you, don't watch it, but it's him in a suitcase, folks. Sorry.
Sarah. For everything you've done to me. Sarah. For everything you've done to me. Sarah. You.
All right, so you guys really don't think she's drunk. I think this is what her first mistake was telling the police, number one, that she wasn't drunk. Had she just said, hey, I got drunk, wasted, and then went upstairs and went to bed thinking he was going to get out. But no, she goes on this huge tangent. She is slurring very hard. So yeah, I think they were both evil with each other. They were just really toxic. Yeah, it is sad. And she's definitely drunk. Man, a lot of stuff would have been prevented. Well, if they would have just left each other. But besides that.
Sarah. You. Sarah. Stupid. Sarah. That's my name. Don't wear it up. Sarah. I can't breathe. Seriously. Yeah, that's when you do when you choke me. Sarah. 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 Sarah, I can't breathe. That's on you. Sarah, I can't breathe. It's on you. Sarah. Real or ransom. I want to give it for it extra.
What?
Because I got this. Sarah.
What'd you say,
Real or
lady?
ransom.
Huh?
Sarah, I can't breathe, babe. Oh. That's what I feel like when you drink on me. Sarah. Sarah. Yeah. You should probably shut up. Sarah. Shh. Sarah.
All right, that was it. That was the whole thing that she recorded and got herself on camera. Oh, I'm big on camera right now. All right. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, this is just one of the cases that everybody's either heard about mostly, but then there's some people that haven't and they think it's not. They're like, what? Wait. All right. I wanted to show you real quick. So now we know that those two people are just toxic for each other. Paul, you've now been introduced into the Twilight Zone. Sarah Boone case. All right, way past drunk. These two had some twisted going on. Oh my God, he's telling her I can't breathe. And she says, that's on you. WTF, I can't wait for the movie on this one. I'm surprised they don't have one yet, actually. That's pretty crazy. All right, so I have some. I just want to show you this documentation because we have documentation on what's happening, motions filed, and then we get into the case, and it's way different than the motions that are filed. So Sarah Boone did well. And then when she got into court, she always puts her foot in her mouth, so to speak. Okay, thank you, Ray Ray. George was 62 inches tall, or 5'2" and 102, 3 pounds. Very small man. That is really small. All right. Let me put this up real quick, and I will show you. We'll be professional with our documentation, so you can see. Oh, hopefully you can see. Why is it doing that? All right. Let me see if you can see it. Yeah, you can. I'm going to show you. I'm just going to kind of go through the paperwork. It's only a few pages. And yeah, this is, I think that they already have a Lifetime movie that's called The Suitcase Killer or Suitcase Murder or something. There is a different Lifetime movie like that. All right. So this professional document is going to turn into what we see in a minute. I mean, it's pretty professional. The cause came before the court on August 14th on the court's order, and notice a hearing entered on August 9th. Now, they gave Sarah Boone, they always give her a notice, and she always calls it a surprise hearing. We see them give her a notice, and she still says it's a surprise. So the orders and judges as follows. The defendant and state agreed to an alternative arrangement as placed on the record August 14th, which were 2 days ago, regarding the viewing of the state's physical evidence. She wanted to close the evidence, and he said tendered in open court on August 9th. The state shall prepare for all the parties to execute a notice reflecting when the evidence viewing will take place, or took place when it does, and the length of time that the evidence viewing took place. The state shall file with the court executed notice after the viewing of the state's physical evidence. So she needs to view her files, and she hasn't been able to do that. She can't have, well, for one thing or the other, she can't do it. She doesn't have a computer. She's not prepared. It's always somebody's fault, or it's a surprise. Yeah, Sarah, suitcase, surprise, Boone. Everything's a surprise, right? Crazy. So these are the orderings, just so you guys know. The defendant's request regarding extended laptop time has been agreed. Well, she got something out of it by the county. The times that have been extended are Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. and Friday on Saturday at 8 p.m. to 11. I don't know how she pulled this off. She also filed a motion right in the middle of court that we're going to see. And the judge says, you can't do that right now. You need 2 copies. And they got to see it. She says, well, I gave you 2 copies. And he's like, yeah, but you just handed it to me right now. This lady's crazy. In addition to the times outlined in the memorandum from Orange County Corrections, is security operations. She's been complaining that she's not getting the proper time and their, privacy. The defendant's request regarding this discovery that was provided on court, she's still asking for the damn discovery on June 28th from 2024, and keeping the discovery in the defendant's possession was addressed to the satisfaction of her, which I'm surprised because there hasn't been any satisfaction. It's just the paperwork saying that they did what they did. And at the beginning were the orders, but I have the documents here thanks to MB Inc. They always have all the best documents. So this was brought to the order of the judge. I should have read this one first, but the defendant failed to meet the burden of producing evidence at this hearing. And that's why we're here watching this, because it's a surprise and it's everyone else's fault. All right. Hopefully you guys saw that. But you just handed me right now. I can't. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's go. And I have the raw footage, but that's not as fun as what I'm going to show you, because you guys already probably know this guy will break it down for us much better than I even need to. All right. We don't need to. We love you, Pete, but let's get into the beginning of the stuff. All right, let's get past that. We don't need his intro, although everyone knows the lawyer, you know. Now his I don't need to play at 1.25 because he talks really fast. So I could chat with you while I'm playing some of this. And yeah, Bree and all the other ladies in here, there you go.
I got to test them on the courts tomorrow. So I will report back and see how things go. But the Boone hearing starts basically with discussing not having a laptop, internet, all of those things. We're going to hear from a representative from the jail when we get into those, generally speaking. But the first argument that Sarah Boone actually makes, and a lawyer from the media is also at this hearing. She filed a motion to intervene. The media wants to be there for anything that's happening, including evidence viewing in the courtroom. Now, we're going to hear some horrible arguing on the part of Sarah Boone, but we're going to give her some props for the fact that she continues to advocate for herself. She continues to try to make sure she doesn't get railroaded, and she brings up some good questions. Some of them are not great making the argument through this process, and I'll talk about kind of, I think, what would have been a better argument, and then it may end up being null and void at the end. But let's go ahead and listen to how she argues.
And I do like Peter breaking down the legal portion of it for us, because some of the legal portion is like, it's just better to have him do that. Although I feel like she's just wasting time and going in circles and drawing it out. And she asks the same question over and over, 7 different ways. And then she asks people to repeat it. It's like, why didn't you write that down, lady? What are you doing? What do you, like, she barely writes anything down. Yes, he does make the best content. And Wednesday, Ophelia, I'm right there with you. What are you talking about? Paul doesn't like it, doesn't think he's eye candy either, but he does have good content. All right. It's none of their business. Sarah Boone. Yes, she's going to say it's none of our business to be doing this right now, by the way. And she doesn't want it to be a media circus, even though she continues to make it that.
The fact that she wants her privacy from the media here.
Concern is regarding my case and the whatever is left evidence that is not already on the internet or posted anywhere on social media. And I'm wondering what the reasons for the court, other than sensationalism and exploitation, purpose would be for them to watch me look at the remaining bit of my evidence that has not been brutalized. Again, my main concern is it is for exploitation purposes, which has already been greatly applied to my case in many, many ways globally again. And I see on a couple of
exploitation
on the motion to intervene for WFTDs, my question is, why is this an important criminal proceeding? And why do they need to have it monitored? I don't understand the reasons why just for this one. I'm not asking for all of my other hearings to be closed. Simply, this is my one and only. It is my right to have some kind of privacy regarding my case. Nonetheless, it is an active case. It is my understanding that some information is not able to be publicized due to privacy, and it's not there.
All right, folks, tell me she didn't just say that 7 different times right now. And Cheryl, I can't even believe we're watching this either. I can't believe they allow this. I can't believe the judge doesn't say to her, you just said that 7 different times in a different way and went around like this. Like, we understand you want privacy, but you're also writing letters to the public, to the media, to your audience. And yeah, she is trying to sound the smartest. I agree with that. I feel like she's trying to sound the smartest by using big words, and she keeps talking, like saying another word to make it sound better, but she's only saying the same thing. She absolutely doesn't sound like a lawyer, Bree. All right, but you guys, when you're listening to this, you tell me if the way she talks is annoying and if she's doing it on purpose, because I can't tell if she's doing it on purpose or she's just one of those annoying ass people that you just don't like.
Right to cry and exaggerate, which is the whole point of why they want to be included in this one and only most important hearing that I would say that I have on the horizon.
Number one, definitely not the most important hearing. Number two, she's totally mistaking this argument. It is not a privacy right. These hearings, these trials are public. The public has a right. The media has a right. These are public courts. This is a public system, especially in Florida. Now, her best argument that she fails to make throughout this entire 5-minute argument here is this is not something that's normally televised or streamed. Media is not usually at the evidence viewing. And because I don't have a lawyer, am I getting punished now to having this open to a media? open to the media, as opposed to normally, or if I had a lawyer, or if I was a lawyer, and I could do this, or if I wasn't incarcerated, I could do it somewhere else other than the courtroom. It shouldn't really be open court like a normal hearing. But she's wrong to say, oh, the media is sensationalizing it, and this is my privacy, and I don't want them to be able to, get clicks out of it, which is what the media does. But in reality,
I love that he's breaking it down for us, though, because I watched this by myself and I had the raw footage, and I was like, you know what? We should listen to what the law says versus what she's saying, because it's such a different turn of events. What she's saying has no legal, like, I don't even know how to say it. There's no legal terms that she's using. It's all just layman's terms, and she's trying to use the thesaurus, like someone saying, overprotected 11111. I saw you on Grizzly True Crime, I believe, today. Yay for making it. Hello. Yeah, this is crazy. And of course it's in Florida. Yeah, he says no so many times. All right, let's go.
In reality, she really is missing the boat on this argument. She does not even make the best argument that she has in this situation. We'll keep listening in here. It might not matter, but it's just interesting to hear her, because sometimes she'll make a decent argument. We'll say, okay, it's kind of a decent argument. Sometimes she completely misses the boat, and you're like, yeah, that's why you need a lawyer. And this is one of those times.
The press doesn't have a right to press themselves into everything in regard.
But they kind of do.
To my active criminal case. And I feel that from this, one meeting should be closed to the press so I can rightfully, lawfully do what I need to do in order to properly, rightfully, and lawfully defend myself. At this point, I feel that there's nothing even suppressible in my case that is not already on the internet and have been spread all on the internet. I'm trying to salvage whatever it is that I can possibly to have a card to play at least one in the end during my trial. I do not feel that it is right lawfully to have them included in this hearing, this one hearing, and I'm asking for their admittance to be closed. This is an active, ongoing investigation case.
And every case that they cover is ongoing and active. So then the media attorney steps up to the plate and makes her argument.
Why the media wants to be there, what transpires in the courtroom. Ms. Boone's. Thank you, Your Honor. I think Ms. Boone's argument really flips the question. It's not why the media wants to be there. What transpires in the courtrooms, even pretrial hearings, is public property, and there's a right to be there.
And they could actually get it closed if they wanted to, but I don't know why she's wasting her time on, right, Athena, you popped up and said it, next issue. Why waste your time on media when you've already had the media, and she could do something else that would help her to get out of jail faster? I don't know if that's what she wants, or if she really just wants to get attention, number one. Number two, serve the time and a half, one day and a half in jail. And then when she gets out, go make a movie, because Gypsy Rose. That's all I can say is that. So she can go in, do her time, come out, and pull a Gypsy Rose where people are so annoyed by her, but they pay her to do stuff. Just saying.
I'm not going to go over the Lewis test because I know Your Honor knows it well, but it's a very strict standard and it's the plaintiff's burden to meet. I haven't seen a case in Florida.
By plaintiff, she means the movement, which is Miss Boone.
Where a criminal case was closed on a defendant's privacy concerns. We're not talking about third-party privacy concerns or something that's not inherent in the proceeding. This is the evidence. And even with respect to the evidence and it being still an active case, Florida law is clear that once discovery is provided to the defendant and accessible to the defendant, that becomes public record. That too becomes open to the public. So with respect to the first part,
unless it is something that's been specifically sealed for some other reason, she's right. And that's why this was an uphill battle. And the only real argument is, Judge, but this isn't a normal thing that happens in open court. And because it's not a normal thing that happens in open court, it should be treated like a closed room meeting, which is usually what it is. I just happen to be incarcerated and forced to represent myself. So we should treat it as if it's a closed room and not a public and open hearing, because it's not really a hearing. It's a meeting between me and the prosecutor.
The analysis, I don't think.
Man, I love what he says, because if she talked like that, it would make it much easier, but not as funny. And it almost seems like Peter's getting mad. I don't even know why I called him Peter. I always call him Pete, but it seems like he's getting mad. And Ray, you always nail it. Verbose to the max, redundant to the max, along with a strange disjointed use of grammar that hurts my brain when I try to follow what she's saying. But I just can't stop watching.
The defendant has established that this hearing needs to be closed to protect her fair trial rights. publicity isn't necessarily synonymous with prejudice. Show widespread, adverse, hostile publicity, and then specifically show why that publicity is going to be aggravated by access to the September 3rd hearing. The discovery in this case has been public. I'm not sure what specifically would be aggravated by access to the hearing. So I don't think she's met that first burden under Lewis.
And she's right. We already know all this stuff. How's it going to get any worse? It's really not. Manley said, Sarah should have argued that the press in the hearing would pollute the jury pool, making voir dire impossible. So the problem with this is the stuff's already out there. And a lot of the prejudicial evidence is already out there. It's already public. People have already seen this. This is really not going to make it any worse. If you're balancing this, I don't see how the public is not allowed at this hearing or this open court meeting. The only way really you keep the media out is you don't call it a hearing. It's not an open court proceeding. It's just a meeting between the prosecutor and the defense, which the media doesn't have a right to be at, especially if it's a private meeting. More on that later. Speaking of more on that later, Tammy said, I'm surprised Sarah didn't file a motion for the JAC funds to provide her with pretend judge costumes so she can practice for court in her cell. She's going to need a curly white wig and a black robe with a lace collar ASAP. Well, she did.
So stupid. And we are going to talk about her doing, asking for clothing if you didn't watch this or you did watch it. Either way, I watched it. I'm watching it again with you, and I'm watching it in a different perspective with the lawyer, so we can hear the legalities of it. Brenda, it's a train wreck you can't look away from. And Wednesday, Ophelia, I did watch and have sympathy for Gypsy at first, and I still have that her being abused empathy that I have, but she should have stayed off of social media. I even covered her case once until my whole crime crew said, I don't want to see that. So I stopped covering it. So FYI, I did, and she needs to stay off of the internet and off of social media, just like Sarah Boone.
Did petition for more money for something, which we're going to get to at the end of this hearing. But let's jump ahead just a little bit to hear what the judge has to say after Sarah Boone makes her final argument.
Closing remarks from you, Ms. Boone.
Yes, Your Honor. First, I'm only asking for this one hearing, which is a very important hearing. I believe that the press is simply...
So far, you're only asking for this one hearing. You've asked for other things, and my guess is if you won this, you'd ask for more in the future.
...in it for ratings and publicity.
The press is in it for ratings and publicity. It's like Captain Obvious. That's what the press does. Now, I get what she's saying, but she shouldn't be arguing ratings and publicity, but instead sensationalism and poisoning the jury pool like they argue, which again is a losing argument because that's also kind of what the press does. But to say that they're doing this for ratings is like, yeah, that's not going to be a reason to keep the press out. Now, moral and normal everyday argument, maybe this is a valid argument, but legally speaking, it holds almost no water.
So what Pete is saying is that she's a terrible lawyer, folks, and she does belong in a loony bin, and she's doing a terrible, awful job of defending herself. And if what we see right now is to come in her trial, she's going to be screwed. I mean, I don't know how she's going to handle herself in court when they get in the ring as the big dogs. They get in the ring and go 10 rounds. I really, truly don't know how she's going to handle herself. I can't imagine. And I think we're all going to have to watch it together because what do you think she's going to do? Listen to her conversation. She's about to speak right now. Just listen to what she says. Listen to those words. I'll make sure I have it turned up so you can hear what she's saying. She goes in circles, and none of them are legal terms. And thank you, Overprotected 1111, by the way. Prayer for victims, George, and all others. Super sticker. Thank you. All right, listen to her closely. She's about to talk. This is what she's going to bring to court.
Evidence is active. And I'm trying to salvage the little bit of anything that I have pertaining to my evidence that is not available online, which would be in that hearing. And I also, she was speaking in regards to once discovery has been received, it is therefore a public record. I just received my discovery for the first time, and I'm still reviewing most, if not all of it. And I have not had the time to go through all of it, but I literally, on the record, just received my discovery to even have an opportunity to prepare to review any of that. And in regards to the hostile publicity, I have letters, I have messages, I have tablet information. I have an entire folder dedicated to publicity in more than one way as being hostile, good, bad, ugly. It's publicity. This will incredibly enhance my inopportunity to have a fair trial because of the already millions of viewers that I have in my case, literally in my case, this would just contribute to it even greater. I'm not asking for all hearings to be closed. I've not had an opportunity to review my discovery, which I just received. I have an entire folder and more information and letters and evidence in regards to publicity, hostile, any type of emotion that you can come up with. I have received from Australia being the most recent. So I do not believe just because they would like to, again, in my opinion, for ratings and for publicity, it's one hearing. There also is a solution that I believe, my understanding was that this could be held at the Orange County Sheriff's Department. The question was in regards to transport, which is a possibility. It was a matter of the decision being with the court. I would like to be able to properly prepare for this.
She mentioned that they could do it at the jail. Somebody said that she mentioned the jury. Yes, she did mention people seeing it and over sensationalizing it and making this trial harder. Absolutely. But then the prosecutor pipes in after the judge starts to rule, which I think is very interesting. It's like, why didn't we start with this?
Why didn't we start with it? And also she went around and she said it, 3 different times already. And then she throws in words like in regards. Now 4, she's going to say. And you know what? Since sober, she does ask for that. I don't know if you watch this, but she asks for them to give her some kind of brochures or packet to represent herself. I don't know if you're saying that because you heard her say that and you're saying she should concentrate on it more, but she does concentrate on that. She concentrates on everything, every little thing she wants. A skirt, she says it a bunch of different ways and asks 3 different times what kind, and can you repeat that? It's like, what?
Received everything prior as everyone else did. Having the internet would have helped also in regards to receiving the notice via email, as everyone else had. I'm sitting in front of you, yes, unhandcuffed, but I am unprepared for this rebuttal in regards for me to have privacy, expected privacy to a certain degree, and by law, to have this one hearing closed. And we also have an active case that is ongoing, active evidence, and there's a solution for it to be held at the Orange County Sheriff's Department as well.
Okay. Anything else from the state?
I wasn't going to bring it up until after the ruling on the motion, but the parties have reached an agreement to do this on our own.
He was going to wait to see what the judge said. If the judge was going to say no media, then maybe we would have done it in the courtroom. But if the judge says media is allowed, obviously Sarah Boone's not going to want to do that. But it turns out the state and Sarah Boone have already come to agreement to do this evidence viewing elsewhere, which would then not necessitate the judge to rule on the media, because the media wouldn't be at the jail if they were going to look through this evidence. But it seems like that is actually what's going to happen, which I think is good. The judge still makes a ruling, and Sarah Boone's motion to exclude the media is denied.
And as soon as that is accomplished, if it's accomplished to both of our satisfaction, then I'll let the court know so you can do it here in time.
Okay.
I don't even think she knows she's making a motion, folks. She has no idea any of the terminology in this. And every time that she gets called out on it, she says, well, I didn't know. How am I supposed to know? I asked you. And then she'll ask the judge. And he says the same thing every time. He says, I can't answer you. I can't represent you or be your lawyer or whatever. So yeah, the judge is great. I feel sorry for the judge. And I'm glad you love this part. I'm going to play it. But she doesn't even know she's making a motion. So when I see in the header of the news that Sarah wins her own first motion, she didn't even know she was making a motion. She's starting to catch on now, but it's insane. This court, when it gets to trial, we're going to have fun.
We'll address that momentarily. Ms. Fugate, anything else? All right. Under the Miami Herald versus Lewis case, ma'am, Ms. Boone, you had the burden of producing evidence and proving by a greater weight of the evidence that closure is necessary. What has been presented today has failed to meet that burden. Your motion to close the September 3rd viewing is denied.
Okay. Then they start to talk about how is she going to know about hearings because of the mail and the delays. And the judge is like, I told you in open court, everybody heard me. So we can just understand this is going to happen every time there's a hearing. Every time she doesn't think she gets something quick enough, she's going to complain about it. We're just going to hear a little snippet of that
today, and that we would addressing the issue regarding the media's participation. And that's when you asked for the case law. I said, I will give it to you. Absolutely. And it was all mailed to you on the 9th.
I'm not ever sure of what it is that I'm supposed to be doing with.
She says that every time.
It's now oral and also in writing. And again, I'm sitting here waiting empty-handed for everything that was mailed to me the day before yesterday and or could have been readily available on the internet, which you do not have access to. So I'm guessing that your verbalization of the order that you read to me, which I have not received, is supposed to suffice.
Ma'am, you were told about the hearing in open court on Friday, August 9th.
If I knew to be prepared, I know that everyone knows that I would be prepared, which I am unprepared because of.
Everyone knows she would be prepared, Judge. Everyone. Point is, like,
all of her million fans know she would be prepared. Even the people from Australia would know she would be prepared if they hadn't already seen that and the judge telling her that she needed to be prepared for this hearing. That's why I called this one complains about being unprepared. And then she fights back about the media. I could also keep going on. She wants a skirt and she wants to know how many they have of each. Can you repeat that so I can sit there and write it down? She complains about not knowing. But if I knew, like, lady, you should have kept your freaking lawyer. What is wrong with you?
Sometimes there are notice issues, but she was absolutely told about this. I don't know. Now, they are saying that, or she is saying that things that were mailed to her are not getting to her in time. That's a problem. They've got to fix that. They have some potential solutions later on in the hearing. And the state then describes, again, the alternative to doing it in open court is doing it elsewhere. Will they take it all out, show it to her, make sure it's evident in evidence bags and opened and closed and sealed appropriately to not hurt the chain of custody. Then the judge gets on the record. Again, this is always important when you have a pro se defendant, but they get on the record that both sides agree to this alternative plan. And Boone's obviously going to agree because she does not want to have this in open court with the media there. That's her number one prerogative. And I got to be honest, this is where we give her the props. She went for plan A, but had a plan B ready to where she was going to be able to view this evidence without the media there. That was her number one prerogative. And she accomplished it, even though she lost miserably her motion. It didn't matter in the end.
I think Pete's given her way too much. He's given her way too much credit. I don't think she had a plan A or plan B. I think she just throws out whatever she can, whatever she wants to say, whatever complaints she has, she throws it out there and hopes that something sticks and that someone will help direct her to the right language and how to, well, like Auntie Reese says, translation. I know nothing about what I'm supposed to be doing, but I know your job like I'm your boss, judge, right? I think she just throws shit at the wall and sees what will stick. I give her zero credit for anything. I don't think that she's knows what she's talking about at all. And it's very apparent. So nice of you, Pete, to give her so much credit.
Okay. All right. Then, ma'am, after having Mr. J explain that alternative solution to the evidence viewing, is that something that you would like to participate in?
Absolutely.
Okay. So then is it the parties' agreement to no longer have the evidence viewing here in open court on September 3?
That's the state's position, but again, been doing this long enough to know that you can never predict every possible hiccup. But I will defer to the court if you want to free up your hearing time now or wait until we're able to tell you that we're satisfied.
Okay. Ms. Boone, are you in agreement with that alternative solution?
At the Orange County Sheriff's Department?
Wherever the viewing is going to take place. I don't know that a specific location was identified, but yes, where it's going to take place.
I am.
Okay. So then here's what we'll do. I will keep the hearing for now. The deadline to have that viewing is set forth in the August 5 scheduling order and notice of.
So they're going to keep the hearing in case something falls apart where Sarah Boone doesn't agree to something and the state's going to be like, fine, we'll just do it in open court with the media there, your buddies and your fans. And so they know they have that leverage over her, but they're going to meet, they're going to go over it without the media. And the judge doesn't have an issue with that. And then we get to the freedom of movement again, where the judge wants to, very politely and respectfully discuss with Sarah Boone, what attire does she want to wear? And does she know the risks that she would be getting into depending on what attire she chooses? What do you think she's going to pick? What do you think she wants to wear?
To use a stunt.
Well, this is very interesting because if all of you are, following this case, then you watched the last hearing where he talked. She's the one that made the motion to not wear handcuffs. And he said, no problem, essentially, no problem, but you're going to have a stun cuff. And the stun cuff is going to be visible to the jury unless you wear pants. It's going to be. And so she goes into this whole scenario and then he's got to go back and reiterate where it's going to be. And then she says, well, can I wear it higher up? So I wonder if Pete, if it makes it all in here with that, because he tells her it's going to be on her ankle and she wants to wear it higher up. Like, how high up can you wear that? You think it's a thigh cuff? What is this lady, man? Lori loves life. Hello, everybody. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way in, please. Or even now, hit it now.
Cuff. I understand that a representative from the public defender's office spoke to you about clothing and what they may be able to provide to you. Is there a preference with regard to clothing that you may have?
As opposed to a skirt and pants?
Correct.
Yes, I very much would prefer to wear a skirt.
Okay. So if you wear a skirt,
she would very much prefer to wear a skirt. No real surprises there. The Silver Lady said, Peter, Sarah didn't come up with that alternative solution. The prosecution did. I will just tell you, Silver Lady, so many criminal defendants, when they start representing themselves, and you can look back at Darrell Brooks as an example, will not take a good opportunity when it's presented in front of them. So I think Sarah Boone knew she was trying for plan A, but had plan B that she doesn't have to agree with, but did agree with, had it in her back pocket, argued first, maybe when she felt like she was losing or after she heard the argument by the media, talks about plan B. Whether she presented it or not, it was something that she was involved in. And I think that that's a good move for somebody representing themselves to have a backup plan that they know they're okay with if they can't get plan A. Peter, I was a juror once, so I have a lot of subject matter expertise. Even though your hair is far better than mine, I disagree. It should be open. So we're not disagreeing, Melvin. I think it should be open too. What I'm saying is the best argument for Sarah Boone would have been a lot of times this is not open, and it's not going to be open if they do it elsewhere like we would as criminal defense attorneys with the prosecutor. If reviewing the evidence, it wouldn't be open to the media anyways.
Pete's just showing off now. So call the lawyer you know so he can help you. They actually do. The lawyer you know, he does accidents and things like that. So he doesn't take criminal cases anyway. But somebody asked him if he would take her case hypothetically with that stupid ad, and he's like, no way. Yeah, do they have a thigh cuff available or a garter belt? I wonder. This lady, well, someone said earlier if she wanted to get like a different fashion sense, and she actually does ask that. You're gonna hear she wants something different than what they offer her 3 separate times. And another thing I'm wondering is if she's gonna bring that into court, or somebody's going to bring that suitcase into court and she's going to have to demonstrate something on it or show it or talk about it, because after all, she is representing herself. And if the if the state brings in an exhibit as the suitcase and does something with that, which we know many times they will, they might have someone that's 5'2" get into it, and so we can see how they look when they're all curled up to show the jury how bad it actually is and what she did. I wonder how she's going to react to that. And I love Pete too. He's awesome. Him and Grizzly True Crime, man. I they're just so, they have so much integrity and they're so professional. So even with that tie-dye shirt, Pete, I love you. All right, let's go.
Sherry said, oh boy, pickleball and some new kicks can't get any better than that. So I was making jokes to my buddies in the, in our pickleball group chat, like, I'm so fast in my new shoes. That's what Maverick always says whenever he gets new shoes. He's like, I'm so fast in these. All right, let's keep listening.
Explained to you by Officer Barnett, the stun cuff is located on your calf Achilles area. It would be something that would be viewable by the jury. So do you understand that if you choose to wear a skirt for clothing purposes, that's going to be viewable by the jury?
I understand. My belief by you asking me was that maybe it could be moved to a higher place where it cannot be seen, or is it strictly to the one area?
As Mr. Barnett or Officer Barnett explained at the last hearing, how the stun cuff is affixed to a person is on the lower leg ankle area.
Okay. I'm not understanding why this is being asked.
Because I want to bring it to your attention that if you have a desire to wear clothing which would reveal the stun cuff, I want you to understand that it's something that the jury can and may be able to see.
I understand. Is it a decision I need to make today?
It's something that you need.
So again, to me, I don't know the answer. I don't know why she wants to wear a skirt. I don't know why. Maybe she thinks that'll present better in front of the jury. Maybe she thinks that's more sympathetic. I don't know. Battered wife syndrome, maybe something like that. But it could also be she's just being difficult, because they very clearly said it would be under a pant leg around her calf. So maybe it's going to be a long skirt. I think she has limited. I think the person from the PD's office, I think, said they had 3 skirts and like 8 pair of pants or something for her to pick from. It's not like she's going to go to Macy's and be able to pick whatever she wants. So I don't know.
Well, she might be, folks. Be careful, because she might have one of her 1 million followers bring her an outfit if she makes another ad, because she does ask about that next. So maybe I'm revealing too much, but she's going to ask, what if someone brings me something? Can I wear that? I mean, she just, when the judge says, is there anything else? He should just know that she's going to say yes. And she's going to have another question. Yeah. I always think that she's trying to be difficult, but I don't know if she really is. or if she's just, yeah, no matter how many times you ask, the answer isn't changing. But if you ask it a different way, it might.
I don't know if she's just being difficult, but the judge is like, if you want to wear a skirt, go for it. But I got to let you know the risks you're running. They might be able to see that stun cuff.
Need to consider. If you're wearing pants, they obviously cannot see it. If you're wearing a skirt, they can see it. And you're making a intelligent, knowing decision that they can see that.
This is on you. And this judge is very smart. He's going to lay the record, protect the record, make sure everything's in the record, that she is waiving certain rights, making certain choices. She understands the risks and the benefits. She's making a knowing and intelligent waiver and decision that's so important in every situation like this.
That, and that you want to proceed with wearing a skirt. Your other option, if you do not like either of those, is the parties will remain, you'll be hands-free, as we discussed, but you'll have the leg restraints like you have today. And everyone will conduct everything from counsel's table, all direct examinations and cross-examinations, any questioning of any witnesses.
I mean, do you see how much time they spend on this? And we're not done with this because we still have to get into her after we go through all of this, asking if she could have her own clothes brought in. So yeah, maybe Athena, you're right, that she should ask for a camouflage skirt and then she could be in disguise. Now, the reason it matters, folks, is because it could be prejudicial. So if it's prejudicial to the jury and they see her and they think of her as somebody that's incarcerated or been incarcerated, they might look at the gravity of the situation differently versus if it's somebody that's on bail. If they were out on bail, they wouldn't have a stun cuff. So it would be a different level. So it just makes people prejudice. It's like Wade Wilson and the tattoos on his face and having a Nazi sign and trying to cover it up so that the jury doesn't discriminate. That's all. It's just rights that, those thinking rights that they have to do.
Any argument, any opening remarks or closing arguments or opening statements will be made from counsel's table. You can certainly stand, but we will not have the opportunity to walk around the courtroom. Now, I know that we talked about in our last hearing that we would have another hearing when we have our trial case management in September, addressing the box as to where everybody would go to. And last week on the 9th, I said that we would limit access from counsel's table to the podium. And we wouldn't be allowed to approach a witness or the jury. And those same restrictions would be placed on the state as well. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just giving you a series of options. Because if you want to wear a skirt, you have to understand that the jury can and will be able to see that device that's affixed to your leg.
He's not even saying might. He's saying can and will. So if she wears a skirt and they see it, she knows. No surprises to her. Drank water down the wrong pipe.
Oops.
And by my hearings that we have spoken about the stun cuff, they are televised, correct?
To the best of my knowledge, the media has participated in the majority, if not all, of the hearings that this court has had with you.
Okay, so now she's worried about the media seeing it. She's still going back to that damn stun cuff. And if the media is going to see it, what difference does the media make? The media is not going to choose how many years that you spend into prison, lady. It's the jury that might be prejudiced against you. This lady is just out of her freaking mind, man. Yeah, he starts calling her. His tone does change, but it goes right back in a little bit. Like he gets like this, and then he'll bring himself down. We still have a little while to go.
Does the court broadcast live, or is it uploaded to the clerk of the court's website?
What is broadcasted live?
My hearings, in regards to all of them, basically, but recently the stun cuff. Is there anyone that would know that I'm already wearing it if they can see it or not?
I can't speak to what everybody else knows.
So if I may, please, my options are pants hiding the stun cuff, or a skirt with it being visible, or I am able to sit here at the counsel's table with leg chains on, and no one is able to move except for here at the counsel's tables.
You certainly have the opportunity to stand, but we wouldn't be able to move around the courtroom, and those same restrictions would be placed upon the state.
They're literally giving her every option, treating her very fairly. This judge has treated her more than fair the entire time, in my opinion. Then they go through someone from the PD's office comes and talks about what options she has. The investigator comes up, talks about, the fact that she got the digital evidence. The judge discusses, let's play a minute of this just so we can kind of see the judge warning her about having her hard documents in her bunk that's not secure. And she's already complained about privacy rights in the past. So if something goes missing, hey, that's another knowing and intelligent waiver that she's making.
Do you understand that? You told me that you live in a female dormitory with limited privacy. You understand by keeping those boxes there may be a risk as to other persons looking at them.
I don't have any other choice.
Okay, but do you understand that risk exists?
You do have a choice, the computer, the digital evidence.
Of course.
Okay, do you understand that there's a risk that those items could disappear?
I understand.
Okay, all right. Do you
Oh wait, but Judge, before we finish, is there any way we can get a storage locker at one of the units? You think we can get a storage unit for me? Huh? How about I go into one of the captain's office and go? I mean, this lady, like, I don't even know. This is going to be an insane. It's going to be an insane trial. We have to watch this together.
You understand that's your request and choice to keep those documents in your possession.
I do, and I'm also requesting in my letter to the captain and to the major to also be able to store all of the USB drives and the hard drive, my locked drawer, also for an extra security measure.
Okay.
I called it. She wants to store it in the captain's office, so she wants storage in the captain's office too. Wow. Wow. And hello, city's mama. All right. She wants a storage unit next. Wait, just wait.
Okay. All right. I see that we have Investigator Lane here.
Okay, yeah, then Investigator Lane just comes up and talks about how he gave her the digital evidence. And then we get to the meat and potato portion of the hearing where the people from the jail come and talk about what extra things they can give Sarah Boone based on her requests and letters that she wrote to the jail. Before we get there, I'm going to hit a few questions. Julie said, how do I apply from the UK to represent her former Florida resident? Feel like I need to come back to Florida. She needs help legally, even though she's probably guilty. I don't know how you would do it from the UK. I know how to do it from state to state. What options would be available for contempt if the defendant is pro se and already in jail for refusing to follow the judge's instructions, etc.? So different sanctions can be levied against her. She could be kicked out of the courtroom. She could have to watch on a monitor. She could be bound and gagged potentially. She could be shackled. Those kinds of sanctions are still available to her and to the judge if she really, acts wild throughout this trial. Carrie said, Peter, what happens if she just throws her arms up and says, I can't do this. I don't know what I'm doing. The judge will instruct her not to do that. But if she does, my guess is the judge will just instruct the jury to disregard. It's what happened in my trial. Disregard the outburst. We're going to get back to the case and representing, and Ms. Boone is representing herself. And she's just going to, the jury usually picks up on it. Like the jury was more annoyed with the pro se defendant I tried the case against as a prosecutor than I was. And he was very annoying. So juries usually pick up on that stuff. Now, if the state thinks it gets so bad that maybe they're going to feel bad for her or they request a mistrial, the judge can and probably would grant it at that point if she really did something wild. Kyle said, Peter, that.
Another thing too is, did any of you watch the Daryl Brooks one? I didn't watch it in real time, but I heard so much about it. I had to go back and watch the Daryl Brooks trial. That was insane. So I don't think I really think it's going to be annoying, but like funny annoying. But Daryl Brooks did get out of pocket and they kicked him out of the court many times. He got angry and he started saying things, just staring at the judge. I don't think it's going to get to that level, but it's going to be to the level where she says things so many times and makes a lot of mistakes and throws people off and objects to things that are not objectable for some reason, just interrupting. That's what I think is going to happen.
That shirt is tie-dye for. It's like side effects to every decision she makes. Yes. All right. So now we get to the big chunk of this hearing that is, I can't wait to hear what you guys think about these requests and the back and forth between the attorney for the jail and Sarah Boone.
To address each request one by one, do you have a copy of the letter?
I do.
So this is the female captain of the female jail that is the one reading the letter from Miss Boone, and this is where kind of the back and forth starts. You'll hear a male voice. I'll let you know that's legal counsel that she's referencing from the jail.
And we can proceed with the 7 different items that she has requested. So
so with number 1, the request to have her review time extended, I can make the extension in the following fashion. We'd still have to collect the laptop at 4 p.m. This gives the staff and supervisors the ability to conduct the afternoon head count.
Now, pay attention to this lady's voice because she does not have patience like the judge does. And this is what I was talking about in the beginning. She won this motion to have extra time. So she's winning motions without even knowing that she's putting motions into play. Her motions are just her asking for stuff and kind of poking around and asking many people different questions. And most of the time they're inappropriate questions for the wrong person, just inappropriate all around. But she's doing something. She got her handcuffs to be lifted off. She's going to get her skirt of her choice, possibly. And now she gets extra time to be on the computer. Maybe she can look up George and see what happened with him and his family. Maybe she can find some interviews of the family, and she can watch all of us streaming her.
To conduct the meal dinner service, conduct the shift change, and then the evening head count. I am willing to allow her Sunday through Thursday to get the laptop and the USB drives from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. and Friday night and Saturday night from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. That is more than the requested time.
I mean, that's like an extra, 10, 15 hours a week with her laptop and USB drive. That to me is amazing that they're extending that. That's a huge win for her. And guess what? That would have never happened if she didn't ask for it. So whatever you want to say about her, okay? And I get it. Some people don't like her, and I get it. And I think the state's got a lot of evidence against her, and they're going to present it, and we'll see what the jury says. But as we sit here now, she's representing herself. Not a good situation, but she's fighting hard. It's the same thing people talk about like at hospitals. You have to advocate for yourself, or they treat you a certain way sometimes. And that's true. And we've had cases like that where it's gone horribly wrong. And at this point, she's fighting for herself, and at least something she's gotten here. She's gotten more than something, right? She's gotten freedom to move about the courtroom. She's gotten her hard documents and a computer. She's got an investigator helping her. She's got money for the investigator. She's got her, she's got the jail now extending the limited hours that they gave her to work on her computer and hard drive. So she is fighting for herself, okay? And Cheryl said, why does she get special treatment? I don't consider it special treatment. And this is going to be another question that comes up later when kind of the jail lawyer.
Yeah, I don't think it's special treatment either. I think that it's the bare minimum for her because she doesn't even know what to do with those resources, folks. I don't know why George was with her, but they were both toxic to each other, and they both were arrested many times for beating each other up. So I have no idea. I think both of them were bad for each other, and it ended. Yeah, it was a toxic relationship. It ended bad, and this is what happens. Now, she does have a lot of resources. Again, mark my words, she's not going to know what to do with them. She barely is holding herself afloat, and the few things that she's focusing on are not the right things. So I hit play, and then I'll grab my dog because he's mad.
Says we're not going to give her special treatment. It's not special treatment if the judge or the jail determines that it's fair and just, and she needs it in order to protect her constitutional right to represent herself. So that's the question. And that's the question I want us to think about, this thought exercise that we go through today, and why I enjoy talking about this so much with you guys as far as like a social experiment goes. But what is fair in 2024? Keep that in mind as we listen to this.
Time that she has asked for additional viewing.
Ma'am, do you understand the extension that's being provided by the Orange County Jail regarding the laptop that on Sundays through Thursdays, additional time from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., and Fridays and Saturdays, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m.?
Correct, with them collecting it at the normal 4 p.m. time.
Correct. All right. Do you have any questions regarding that extension?
I do not.
Okay. Is that acceptable?
Very much.
All right. Moving to the next issue, Captain, the USB drive security.
I mean, they do respect her, though. I'll give you that. Like, she has the perfect judge, because some judges would not have patience for that. And say hello to Wes, everybody. Stella, I was at the beginning of this, I talked about their background in history. So if you want to go back and just watch that first 25 minutes, it will tell you about that.
All
right.
Number 2, USB drives. It's a matter of security. The matter other than what it's originally or consultation with legal counsel.
We're going to skip through this part. It's just like, how they're going to make sure all that stays safe.
Of corrections regarding it being a matter of security, and how the USB drives are secured, controlled, inventoried, and confirmed to be in good working order.
I understand the process.
To the extent you're able to answer that question.
I would just chip in that, obviously there's safety issues, and you can definitely distinguish between, paper copies and anything made out of metal, which is what the captain just testified to. That's the problem, it sounds like to me, is anything that could be a safety hazard is an issue for us.
So, ma'am, do you have any other questions regarding the Corrections Department position with regard to the USB drives?
What's the outcome?
It sounds like unless I've missed something, it sounds like the Orange County Jail is going to continue with their protocol of storing, inventorying, and keeping the USB drives in accordance with the procedure as provided to you and read to you in open court.
She said, what is their outcome? I mean, this lady, and we still haven't even heard her give give her motion yet. She's got paperwork all filled out, ready to go. We don't know what it is because they don't talk about it. They can't talk about it in open court without having, well, because the media is there. And once they open that can of worms, they can't close it. She's going to want some boots too. Yeah, boots and edible panties, like Paul said. Wes is like, I don't like her. You should see his face when he gets mad. His teeth like that. All right. I should let him put these headphones on and he'll start growling at her.
Court.
And that's due to metal?
That's due to the reasons that were already identified. The matter of security regarding the drive being fashioned.
The last name of
Classroom, Captain Don DiGiovanni.
So that classroom is a multi-purpose classroom. It's used by programs and chaplain services. I cannot allow the use.
This is her requesting use of the classroom in the jail that they use for different functions like chaplains and classes and things like that.
Of a classroom. What I can offer is if the defendant is willing, I can move her to a housing unit and place her in a secure cell where no one will disturb her and she can review and conduct case review. She will still.
So they're saying they'll move her into a holding cell that is secure where she can be by herself to work on her papers. And that sounds decent. But she's not going to have help from anybody else that may be helping her at the jail, from her friends. It's solitary, basically, and it can be very miserable. I heard people saying things like, oh, they try to even give her this. It's like, this isn't as good as it may sound. It really is not. What judge will have it worse, this or Darrell Brooks' judge? Darrell Brooks' judge, Judge Doro, by a million worse than this judge. Will have it worse. Not that this judge is worse or whatever. Darrell Brooks is much harder to deal with than Sarah Boone. That's what I'm trying to say.
And he was angry and things. At times, she almost thought he was going to attack her because he would stare her down and just get really over the top. So Sarah's just will annoy the shit out of you. Yeah, Brian and Jill, hello. And all she wants is a private office, a full computer, a phone and a secretary, and printouts with the boxes and copies of that. And also she would like a lawyer again, please, because she screwed up and she messed up and she wants a lawyer. Please just give her a lawyer back. She didn't mean to do that. Lawyer puts her in her place. They need to put her in her place. And I'm surprised they don't have a law life. But they're not at prison. They're not in prison meet. It's a jail. It's like it's the jail where you stay until you go to prison. So I don't think they have all that. And Synth Server, why don't you be her lawyer? Go help her out. I'd be like, quiet, y'all. I'm trying to learn this law. Shizzers. Oh man, she really does need a lawyer. I wonder. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think she's gonna get one back, but I think that she does feel the repercussions of what she did.
Diva, Peter, I've been watching for an answer to the email about my case and I haven't gotten one. Do I need to send another one with a certain subject? So I looked at it. It's not something I specifically handle. I was trying to find somebody that I could refer you to. I haven't been able to yet, but it's outside of my purview normally. But I am trying to find somebody to give you a recommendation. Psycho Peta, you look great in tie-dye. Thank you very much. And Donna Mason said, I want Peter's shirt. It's on our merch site, lawyeryouknow.com. Check it out. Travel and Teresa, Peter, even though 2024, she's an inmate, there are so many operating procedures in a jail of that size. They can't just cater to her. I agree, but I have some more discussion points when we get to the arguments the lawyer makes. Let's keep listening.
Will have access to a shower. She will still have access to open day room time. She will still have access to phones, but the review and her location will be in a secured housing location where she would be the only person in the cell.
Ms. Boone?
Captain, is this Lima dorm?
K dorm.
Kilo. So my only options are being moved to the maximum security dorm or my bunk.
K dorm is no longer a maximum security. It's a multi-purpose area with inmates of varying needs being secured and housed there.
So it is not the maximum dorm any longer.
That's correct.
She
And I'm
just
unable
said
to utilize
that.
the classroom for an hour or two per day while it's dark the entire.
That's correct.
And if I may ask, other than it being accessed on a rare occasion of the 2 classes that do participate in that classroom, why is it that I'm unable to sit? And
I also think the jail wouldn't mind, just putting her in her own cell by herself, and they don't have to deal with her and as much, and everybody else doesn't have to deal with her. Probably something a lot of them want.
be viewed by the officers at all times.
I want you guys to know, I think the trial is going to move forward in October. I don't think she's going to get a lawyer. I really, truly don't think so. I think, they give her a little bit of assistance, even though she doesn't have an assistant. But I don't think they're going to give her a lawyer back. I think they're going to move forward, and we're going to see a shit show because they want to get this through. It's been over 4 years now, so.
In my dorm comfortably to be able to utilize the phones on a regular basis, the day room on a regular basis, to be able to go outside to recreation, to have just for fresh air. How is that? I'm not understanding specifically why the reason is it has to be so extreme from going to being locked behind a door 24 hours a day to not being able to just utilize the classroom for an hour or 2 per day.
Ma'am, you would still retain your rights as an inmate and have access to all the services and day room time that you currently have during the same operational hours. And instead of having to move items from a housing area into a classroom where the officer may have line of sight, I cannot guarantee that my officer will have continuous unfettered access to you to ensure the safety and security of that classroom while something may potentially occur in the housing unit. So as a matter of security to the rest of the inmates in the housing unit that you are currently assigned, my staff and the facility, I can make the accommodation where I could put you in a single person cell where you would have unfettered access, uninterrupted access to your case material, and still have my officers in the housing area where if you had a question or you wanted to take your shower during normal day room time, you would be able to do so.
I've been in a situation where I have been behind the closed doors also when I was made PC when I first got to Orange County Corrections Department. And if it's anything like that, I do not ever want to have that experience again. And to be honest with you, forgive me, Captain, but I do not believe that it would be this simplified. And nonetheless, I'm behind a closed door for 24 hours. Is there any?
So I do want you to know all this complaining and all this bitching that she has going on. Yeah, I can show that after the flyer that she made for advertising lawyer. This is what got her into trouble in the first place, folks. So even though she's fighting for herself and she's winning some motions, she was fighting for herself before. That's what she was doing when people didn't call her back, attorneys didn't get to her in a timely manner, when she didn't get what she wanted. She was doing things like this. And that's how she lost her lawyer privileges. So what kind of trouble is she going to get herself in with doing this? Think about that. Think about when she gets sentenced. Is she going to end up with a freaking 25-year sentence instead of, if she had a lawyer, they'd be able to get her out on a second degree. She fell asleep. It was accidental. It wasn't premeditated. When you're drunk, maybe the jury has some sympathy. They give her 12 years, but now she's going to get 25 years because she's representing herself and doesn't know the laws. Think about that. I think she's going to, she's going to appeal for poor representation herself, but appeals are very slim that you're ever going to even get to another trial and then let alone win it. So I think she's getting herself into a whole bunch of shit by doing this. Yeah, she did F up, but I think she's still messing up right now by how she's approaching this. She's sitting there telling, complaining, I don't want to ever do that again. And she continues to screw herself. Mark my words.
Anything that I can do, any kind of research or further explanation in order for me to try to still be able to utilize my dorm, which is general population dorm, where I do have friends and I do have some type of comfort there, in order for me to be able to access the classroom, or simply are my options from working on my bunk or to the extreme of being behind a closed door for 24 hours.
She's like, I'm giving you options, ma'am. You pick which one you want.
And you're already behind something for 24 hours. You're in jail, lady. What is wrong with her, man? I just don't understand. And that's why I'm saying she's pushing it to the limit. Even though it seems like she's getting things and she's winning things and people are like, wait a minute, she's not doing too bad. She's getting something. No, she's pushing it. She's pushing it to the brink of a hefty sentence, I'm going to say.
Captain?
Judge, I'm not objecting to that question. It calls for her to speculate at this point as to what all the other alternatives may be. She's simply here, responding.
That's the lawyer for the jail, and he's like, I've had enough. He's like, we're an hour into this. I've had enough.
As to this particular request, and now she's asking her this kind of this broad general question about alternatives.
The objection is sustained.
In regards to number 4, earphones or head.
So they just move on. She's not going to give her all the options. Sarah Boone has heard. She can pick whichever one she wants.
Phones, I would need to consult with legal because I don't know what the ramifications of that is. We've not had a pro se inmate ask for earbuds or headphones.
And she says a pro se inmate, but we've brought earphones. We have given earbuds that are appropriate to the jailer that the jail approves, left them there for them to use to listen to something in discovery. So there's ways to do this. And they keep saying a pro se defendant hasn't done this before, which maybe that's correct. I don't know, but there are absolutely scenarios where they have provided, they don't let them take them back to the bunk with them, obviously, but they have provided earbuds or earphones or ways for them to listen to discovery or things they need to while in the jail.
I would have to defer to legal counsel and my chain of command for guidance in that request.
And she keeps saying, I've got to defer to legal counsel, and he's right there, and he's already piped in a few times, and he's about to pipe in a lot more.
With regards to number 5, internet access. Again, we've not had a pro se inmate, or at least not one that I've been responsible for, request internet access without limits. So again,
did you hear her say without limits? I think the without limits is the interesting little portion we have to remember as we discuss this.
I need to refer to legal counsel with legal counsel and my chain of command to get guidance on that. Regarding number 6, a word program. We've not had pro se inmate, again, myself, that requested access to a word program. I would need to consult counsel, legal counsel, and my chain of command for guidance before we can make a response. Number 7, telephone access. In her statement here, as you are aware, my dorm contains payphones only and are limited to only 15 minutes per call, which are collect. I need to be able to communicate on a regular, normal phone to make all necessary calls. Hold on, I'm turning the page. For my case to use in trial. I have no other way to contact anyone that is not collect, which incredibly, I believe that diminishes. I don't know what the other word is here. If not all of my opportunities to properly prepare. The phone system that we currently have in the jail for the inmates to access is as is. I don't have the ability to make any modifications.
So she has access to everything, Brian and Jill, but she wants special access, and she doesn't want to have to pay every time, because if she had counsel, she wouldn't have to pay. So yeah, she definitely has that, and I don't think it has to do with the county. She just wants more of it. And yeah, I'm surprised she didn't ask for a suitcase so she can roll out of jail as well. I'm surprised she didn't see if she could, get a car while she's at it, maybe Uber to the coffee shop, because we definitely need coffee when we're doing our research and going over paperwork. Duh. This is going to bite her, though. I have a feeling this is going to bite her. Regular, normal phone to make all calls. She says a lot. She does. She wants everything, and that's what got her in trouble. All right.
Number 8, discovery hard copies. It seems that
number 9, a golf cart,
already has access to her hard copies. The concern I have to do now is do some research with legal and my chain of command, because that quantity of paper can potentially become a fire hazard. And we have standards in place. And Judge, I'm not certain if you're familiar with the Florida Model Jail standards, but the quantity of paper is actually the problem. So we may have to come back to the table for a different type of resolution.
Can I have more paper and my own personal printer, please? Because I don't want anyone to see. Can I get an Uber, a Lyft, a golf cart, a jet ski?
Regarding the 2 cases of
Why
paper
not?
discovery.
Giovanni's and the Orange County Jail's position with regard to the earphones, headphones, internet usage, word processor, telephone, and the concern regarding the hard copies and it being a fire hazard.
I do, and I was also including number 3, the classroom utilization. I just want to make it clear and in open court that I want to have the understanding with everyone that it is an option of mine to decide to remain on my bunk with this discovery in the laptop, and it is or my option to be moved. But I have the ability to make that decision.
Judge, I have no objection to that. I am not looking to impede anybody's ability to access to a general population housing unit. I was simply offering an option that would be amenable to security and potentially Ms. Boone.
Okay. Am I able to proceed?
You can.
So for my understanding right now, you need to speak to your legal counsel already have. Is that correct?
Read your letter correctly.
Reasonably, I would like to have access to a regular phone. It could be 1, maybe 2 times a week where I save all of my calls for a particular day. I'm always up for solutions, just whatever it is that I can do in order to progress properly and expeditiously. I'm trying to do so by having this where I am confused why this was not all solidified prior to the implementation of the laptop. So I'm waiting for whatever it is that I can do to fully
I love when she uses like bigger words than necessary, you know?
access
All
and
the
become a
time.
pro se defendant and inmate. Do you know when, how long?
And then at the end of something, she'll say in regards to, not even like in the proper moment that you're supposed to say in regards to, or suffice, regards to. And we got to call out what she's talking about because she definitely has these words that she throws in these statements to make her sound smarter. And overprotected, I think I'm just tired too. And it's you guys are cracking me up right now. I can't even. Oh, what's up, Tiff? Tiff Knox is in the house. Hey, fam. We're all fam here, right? She might plan her escape. Where is she gonna go that nobody knows her? Loony boony.
How long the deadline might be for the open-ended items that I would be waiting for?
Just discussion. I'll chip in with the legal piece of it.
And here he goes. Okay. So now let's hear, tell me what you think this guy thinks about Sarah Boone. And he's about to argue against all of her requests and kind of make the same points you guys are saying, like, hey, you're an inmate. This is not a spa. You're not on holiday. You're in jail.
The legal piece of it is simply that she's a pro se inmate. She's not the first pro se inmate that the jail has had. We've had several. And the issue is whether or not there's any constitutional or statutory violation with what we provide pro se inmates. And I would argue that there's not. She has access to the court as required.
He's saying the question is, are we violating our constitutional rights? And we are not. This is what we do for every pro se inmate. WD-40 said, you still have to work within the law, Peter. They are not legislators. I agree with you. That's why I said for this discussion, what should it be? What do we think it should be? Because I will just tell you, people and lawyers in Florida that sit on rules committees, they come up with the new rules and what's fair and what should a pro se defendant have to be able to represent themselves.
Sometimes Pete has to take shit because he's a lawyer and we don't agree with a lot of the laws and how they work, right? Because many laws haven't been changed. They're old, or they work for the side of a defendant sometimes in a way that we don't like. So it's funny because he's going to always defend the law. And I bet you he doesn't read half of the comments because people, well, don't like lawyers or police department sometimes, or the rules. If anybody has that that wants to send me a picture of her putting her son in a suitcase, I'd love to see it and share it with you all. We definitely need a good laugh. I have a picture of the ad after this if you guys want to see that. If you didn't, but I can't put it up while we're playing this. I did clip it so we can see it.
Especially if they're an incarcerated pro se defendant. And they don't just say, oh, because it's always been this way, that's it. We have changed every rule virtually in the civil rule system in Florida about snail mailing it and waiting 8 days and putting a stamp on it and writing it this way to now electronic, e-file, e-transfer, email. We have updated all of that, sending a link, providing a Word document that is editable, no longer even using PDFs for certain things. So we definitely bring it up with the times. I'm sorry, the camera keeps not focusing. It's bothering me. But we bring it up with the times, and should we with criminal defendants as well? And he's about to say, and he almost laughs when he says it. So keep an ear out when he says, listen, basically they're given a pencil and a piece of paper, and that's what they have to represent themselves. Does that seem fair? Like a word processor on your computer to me is so simple and easy for the jail to do, where you don't have to give any internet access, but let them be able to type. Having a jail email doesn't seem impossible. It's actually cheaper than sending letters. and easier and creates less manpower that's needed to send an email versus a letter, and can be instantaneous. And we want her to be able to be prepared and know what hearings are coming. So why can't we have some kind of email system and some limited internet access so she can see the docket? Like, is she really asking for a 5-star resort? Right? Let's ask ourselves that. I realize how we feel and how people feel about her specifically, but just think about a criminal defendant across the board who's in a position that they have to represent themselves or they want to represent themselves. I don't really think some of this is such a crazy ask that this lawyer is going to really turn it into here, and this is how he feels, and we'll listen to it.
By the law, everything she wants is over and above.
I'm glad he's saying this. He just said everything she wants is over and above. And I agree with that because, well, I'm not a lawyer. And I think that is her fault that she got all of her lawyers either left or she kicked them off. And that's her fault. And she should not get any special treatment that any other pro se defendant would get. And I think that's what she's asking for at this point. I think there should be like a manual or either a manual or a document that says any pro se defendant that's going to, that's pro se because they defend themselves should have access to these things. She's pushing it. Just remember I said that.
What our typical stance is for pro se inmates, and all those policies are in place for a reason. But somehow she wants to go beyond that, and she wants all this extra consideration, more than anybody has ever been given, frankly. And at the end of the day, again, it's a constitutional question. Is it a violation of her constitutional rights, the restrictions we have in place? And I would tell you it's not.
Is that a position, counselor, that you're taking today? Because Captain DiGiovanni had stated she needed to consult with legal counsel as to the issues of the headphones, internet, word processing, telephone issues. Is that the position that you're taking today, or is that something you need to further investigate to have a final position as to that?
No, that's my piece of it from the legal end. Now, of course, she's got to talk to her folks as far as the security end of it, because a lot of those things are in place because of security concerns. But from a legal concern, I can easily answer that today. And the answer again is, she's legally she's allowed access to the court and all these other things that she wants. And really, and I'll tell you what the case law says. The case law says if she's supposed to, she's entitled to get, a paper, a pencil, and some stamps and some envelopes and those types of things. The idea that she wants unfettered access with the.
You already chuckled at the end of it. A paper, a pencil, some stamps. Peter, as someone who has worked in the jail, it's a lot. People at the jail wouldn't have to do a single thing more. No. Somebody else, some IT person at the jail would upload whatever program on the computer. The people at the jail would just give her the computer, take the computer, give her the computer, take the computer.
Phone, and she wants to make calls all day and night. At the end of the day, I'll also say there's case law out there that says, she's gone through, I think, 8 attorneys in this case, and she has several attorneys appointed to her case, and she's kind of put herself in this position today. And the case law is not real favorable to folks that put themselves in that position.
So I don't love that he said that. Obviously, you guys are going to know that. I don't mind a lot of what he said, and I think a lot of his arguments hold water, and they're correct, and they're exactly how it's been done. And if we're looking at precedent, I think he's making the right call and making the right argument, and that's fine. And he doesn't want any extra work for anybody at the jail. They don't want to recreate the wheel here, wait till the law changes. I'm totally fine with all that. Totally fine with all that. But to say that, she's been appointed 8 attorneys to make it seem worse than it is, he should have just said, the court has found that her actions have put her in this position. And it is what it is. And
that I agree with. That I would have said, but I think he just got emotional and annoyed. And that wasn't the judge, Marilyn. The judge is amazing, though. He has patience. That was a representative of the jail that she's in. And yeah, you're right, Sophie. She's going to be asking for Chat GPT instead of a pencil pretty soon. And that costs money, right? You got to upgrade the Chat GPT to get the full access to it. But I do think that they should stick to that. Hey, you get time in there. As much as they've given her already, she still has nothing. Yeah, she can use a payphone and have a pencil and a paper. But it would cause a lot of appellate issues and
now she's got to deal with the consequences. But she did not run off 8 attorneys. Okay, we've been through this multiple times. She did not run off 8 attorneys. She ran off enough attorneys to where the court felt like it was enough, and that's fine. And I think that's a logical and totally reasonable decision that the court made. But I just like to, be fair. I just like to be fair, even with people that we may not like.
Ma'am, do you have any other argument with regard to these requests as to the headphones, internet, word processor, or telephone?
So my understanding is that I'm being penalized by Orange County Corrections Department because of their misunderstanding in regards to my, in quotes, 8 attorneys prior. Is that why I'm unable to have anything?
I'll tell you right now, This is all going to be something that's in the appellate record as well. And here's the other difference, okay, on appeal, right, from these cases with some other cases, and this lawyer saying, like, we've never had a pro se defendant that we've given this, that, or the other. Well, let me just ask you guys a question. Same thing as like a hospital. Hospitals can be like, oh, we've never given somebody this, that, or the other. But did they ask for it? And in the law, if criminal defense attorneys don't ask for something or don't do something, it could be considered waived. And they obviously wouldn't get it if they didn't ask for it. If she asked for it and it was reasonable and within her rights and they say no, it could be an appellate issue, even though they had not done it before where somebody didn't ask for it. It's just an interesting, right? This is what we do, folks. I'm not making the decision. I'm not the judge. I'm not the criminal defense lawyer, thank God, in this case. We're talking, we're thinking, we're using our brains, right? That's the point. That's what I hope to get out of this channel and in our discussions. And my thought is, she's asking, so they are having to say no. That's very different than like a Darrell Brooks, who he wanted to ask for grounds and is the plaintiff here and you can't tell me to do that, judge, and I'm going to stand over here and I want to wear my orange jumpsuit today. Very different than what's going on here, right?
It is. He was angry and
Would the
hostile.
CPS worker who investigated Sarah for zipping her son in the suitcase be able to testify she warned Sarah of the danger, or too prejudicial? Can Sarah open the door by saying...
There you guys go. There's the child being zipped in a suitcase. I wish I had a picture of that. I'm going to have to look for that. Unless somebody has it and wants to email me now. If you email me now, I'll be able to put it up in time. And there's 111. I just saw that angel number. Also, if anyone wants to super chat me $20, feel free to. Just kidding. This is not Gray Pubes Investigates. Begging for money the whole show. Let me get out my can. All right, guys, I'm going to have to put myself in jail because I'm not talking anymore. I'm done. But yes, the CPS worker. So now I know she zipped her son in a suitcase, and obviously there's a picture, and they probably will testify against her because it's dangerous. Wow.
Saying she didn't know it's dangerous, so she can potentially open the door. I don't know if they did a Williams rule hearing of other bad acts. It wasn't a crime that she is then convicted of, so they can't automatically bring it in. I don't know. I don't know what all evidence they're going to bring in. Hey, Peter, off topic. Could you please wish a happy birthday to my head of language department, Mr. Kamal? Happy birthday, Mr. Kamal. She wants the same freedom all her previous attorneys had before she chased him away. Not going to happen. Yeah, I mean, this is a lesson learned. You need an attorney. You want an attorney. Do not do this yourself. Given that the court made her pro se, denying the little things could potentially sum up to reversible error, they should have indulged her on the things that aren't hard to do. Yeah, somebody else said, just give it to her. She's not going to win. Right? But the point is, like, we just want it to be fair. That's it. Peter, it seems like pro se is more like a punishment to the system than Boone. Do you think lawyers, jail staff are upset the judge for the pro se? They're not upset at the judge. They get it, but I will tell you, we all hate it, including the judge. Everybody hates it when somebody goes pro se. It just makes everything more difficult. If somehow she gets a mistrial, will she be forced to be pro se again? Most likely, yes, unless the judge thinks something has changed. All right, let's keep listening.
In order for myself to properly represent myself as a pro se defendant and inmate of the Orange County Corrections Department?
I'm not going to answer that.
That's the opposite. She's being treated like every other pro se inmate in the institution. She's not being penalized at all. She wants consideration over and above what everybody else has.
If I may please, what is over and above? What other pro se inmates, what is it that they've asked for? I don't see how they could successfully even represent themselves without internet and a regular working phone. And
that's the point. They usually don't successfully represent themselves.
I'm pretty sure that they were not able to.
Yeah, see, now they're getting into a battle of words, and they're getting into a battle of, it's getting too emotional there, which could cause a lot of bad things for her or for just the whole case in general. Yeah, there could be a mistrial because of it. It's been 4 years, Paul. It's been 4 freaking years since 2020 that this happened, and she's just been going in circles. She's on her 9th lawyer, which is herself. That's a good observation there, folks. I love hearing you talk. That's the reason I joined Guilty Crime. Thank you, Brenda, and I'm going to talk. I will talk. I'm talking right now. Thank you. I think we like hearing Sarah Boone talk right now. It is very funny listening to the battle as it continues. And I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know that something's going to happen that she doesn't like. And I have a feeling it is going to be that she's going to get a heftier sentence than she should. Although I would just give her 25 to life with no possibility of parole if I was them. But, you know, that's just me.
Complete their case and the successful outcome that they were hoping for by being provided simply papers and pens.
Counselor Hugh.
Let's remember we did this stream for Paul. Paul, this was for you tonight. We wanted to lighten the mood, keep things going, and show some love for you. So thank you. Thank you so much, Sid Server. I appreciate the $20 super sticker. I wish I could see what the super sticker was, but I'm going to pretend like it's avocado. All right? Someone can put some avocados in there. Talk all you wish, Jay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I did at the beginning. I think you missed it. I even told you all about the case. Yes, Paul, we're here to support you and give you a good laugh tonight and also start the case. But I wanted to lighten things up.
I'm not sure if she's asking me a question. I don't know if I'm a witness in this case or if she's trying to ask me a question.
I'm not. You're just simply.
Now he really is just, you know, he's like, have you ever seen that meme? Oh, you want to F with me? That's like what he's doing. He's like, no, you don't get to ask me questions, Ms. Boone. You don't get to ask me questions.
Thank you.
It's like, no. I'm not answering that. I don't have to answer that. And it's almost a little bit like, oof, Sarah Boone. Like the law is coming at you fast. It ain't easy being a lawyer, right? It just is not. And it is not easy representing yourself. It's not easy being thrown into a system where people are trained killers. Literally. It's like, it's a very tough world. Sharks circling the water and they know you don't know what you're doing. So if they're going to get contentious with you, it's usually not going to go well for you. And that's what she's doing here. And the lawyer is just like, I'm not going to tell you that. I don't have to tell you that. I don't have to answer that.
The attorney for.
You know, you also don't want to go against somebody like that has the authority to do other things. So you said I've gone blurry. No, really? Anyway, yeah, if they offer you a plea deal and you refuse to take it to trial, you lose normally. Not always. My internet's being weird right now. I can see the bars going up and down. So I'm sorry about that. If so, oh wow, Meep, you were about to take. I was drinking and took a 2 Ambien. I would imagine so, Meep. I would definitely imagine so. Am I blurry right now? Or did I just go blurry for a minute? All right, I'm going to press play. My internet is showing low bars.
One of the participants, sir, if you're under no obligation to answer that question. You are just providing your legal position with regard to the Ms. Boone's demands and requests.
They're simply requests. And I'm not sure who it might be that could answer my question, please, in regards to what prior or present other pro se defendants and inmates have requested.
Please, in regards to, okay, so in the middle of this, yeah, the internet has one bar right now. I'm going to stop this for a second and thank you, Bree. Bree just sent me the picture of Sarah Boone son in a suitcase. All right. Thank you, Bree. I will stop for that. Let's take a look at that real quick. We all saw it here. Sarah Boone's son in a suitcase. I'm probably actually going to post this as well on my page. Because when people talk about this, that is really good to have up. I'm going to clip this out after. Can you see that? All right. Hopefully my screen is not too choppy. Remember, you lost me in the beginning. All right. I do see it blurry. I'm sorry about that. It is, no, it's just, my internet's going up and down. Okay. So there is her son in a suitcase and they took a picture. Can you guys see me now or are we having problems? I can't tell. All right. So here says, a video was found on Boone's phone, which contradicts her initial claims of police. And then that was the Boone is laughing in the video. And then Torres is heard saying, I can't breathe. Sarah replied, that's on you. That's what it feels like when you cheat on me. And that's what you do when you choke me. Why am I sharing this? Some people don't agree with the negative view many have about Shanann Watts and Bella, not only in how she allowed them to sleep, But how she read those people feel as though others were reaching out, grasping, trying to find a fit the narrative. When she shared the photos of something negative, they say the pictures were in good fun. There was nothing malicious, and it was in sheer coincidence. They died by how's that? So what does this say? Okay, so there it is. Sarah Boone, the woman that we discussed, who killed her boyfriend by zipping him up in a suitcase, took this photo. This photo is of her son from 4 years ago, zipped up in a suitcase. In the picture on the left, as you see in the right too, her son is smiling, but it's crossed out. It's all in good fun. Just 4 years later, this is how her boyfriend was killed. Wow. All right, I'm going to definitely save that. Hopefully you guys can see me. A suitcase fetish, someone says. Where'd that go? Yes, I'm going to definitely post this on my page. And CPS did get involved, apparently. 25 to life with unlimited amount of wine and a suitcase for her to sleep in. Done. All right. Thank you, Bree, for sending that. Let's keep going. All right, I'm going to get back to this. We're going to stop this. And hopefully my, whoa, that's big. Hopefully my internet is working okay now.
I might have a guideline of something to go with forward. And I, again, do not know what is above and beyond simply asking for more than paper and pens in order to properly and rightfully and lawfully represent myself.
Counselor, to the extent you want to respond to that, you can.
Yeah, I mean, Judge, like I said, we've got tons of pro se inmates who come through. They're there right now that have come through the jail, and they get standard treatment. And she wants a lot of them go over and above that. For instance, again, on federal phone calls, she wants to keep things in her cell that she can't normally keep, that they wouldn't allow folks to keep. So there's a lot of issues. I mean, that's a wide open question. But, can I speak to everything that everybody's got in the past? How many pro se inmates we've had that have come through the institution? No, but I can tell you that, we could probably find plenty of examples if need be as to what people have received in the past. And it's nothing close to what she's requiring or requesting today.
Okay. Ma'am, with regard to your state, do you have any position with regard to any of these matters we've addressed? Okay, thank you. All right, ma'am. So with regard to your request, as to the laptop, this jail will be able to accommodate your request, and those extensions will be provided as placed previously on the record. With regard to your request to hold the USB drives in your own personal lockup, for the reasons identified by counsel Chevenel, it's a matter of security, and the protocol which secures, controls, inventories, and ensures in good working order the USB drives will be complied with, so that request will not be accommodated. Your request for a classroom similarly cannot be accommodated for the reasons identified by Captain.
The judge is about to run through a slew of L's that Sarah Boone is going to eat during this hearing. She lost on internet, word processing, classroom, phone, etc.
Giovanni on the records. However, there is an alternative housing offer that can be provided for you. With regard to your request for headphones,
maybe that's why she always says in regard to, because the judge says with regard to or suffice. A lot of teachers will say suffice to say. She keeps saying that over and over. So I'm glad you're getting a kick out of this, Paul. Definitely, we lost sight, and the whole world, I think, lost sight of George. Now, when we start hearing about how they used to beat on each other, etc., it kind of takes away from that as well. But yeah, we lost sight of George in the circus, and I think Sarah Boone has no remorse.
That has been rejected and denied by virtue of the legal counsel's argument and what is being provided to you. With regard to the internet, word processor, and telephone, again, for the reasons that counsel for Orange County has identified, those cannot be provided to you. The court does note that you do have the services of an investigator. And JAC.
It's almost like that guy's probably sitting back there like, oh no. He's basically like, treat your investigator like your lawyer. Tell him stuff you want him to go research or calls you want him to make. He can talk to witnesses for sure and write up witness statements for her so she knows what the witnesses are going to say. So if she was a lawyer and knew how to use an investigator, that could be really helpful for the phone calls, but he's not going to be able to do all the research that she's going to want to do or type up the documents for her motions. So she's still stuck handwriting letters and motions.
Provided you $10,000 and $1,000 for travel for your investigator. To the extent, as requested for the purposes of the internet, for locating witnesses and experts, you have a personal private investigator that can utilize, he can do that for you. I know you've made requests previously to look at your phone to find contacts and information. You also have a private investigator who would accomplish some of those tasks for you. And those can be communications and conversations between yourself and your investigator as to who and when and where and what persons you might be able to seek to find. So for those reasons regarding the headphones, internet, word processor, and telephone, based on arguments of counsel for Orange County, I'm unable to accommodate those requests. The jail is unable to accommodate those requests. Those requests will not be provided. With regard to the hard copies, That's going to have to be a matter. If it needs to be addressed, it can be readdressed with regard to the potential fire hazard. Captain DiGiovanni, would that still be an issue with regard to the fire hazard based on the amount of paper if Ms. Boone elected to move to the secured house?
So they're going to get into now the boxes versus the fire retardant bags that they could put the paper in. So we'll listen to kind of how they accommodate her with that, which I think is nice of them. And they're trying to work with her, but obviously fire hazard and things like that are really important. There's 400 inmates in this jail. Peter, how many other defendants are pro se by circumstance versus by choice?
This is a good question, and everybody is in here. Everyone that's talking, I think we've all said that it doesn't happen very often to have a pro se defendant, right? So let's see what he says as a lawyer. I don't think that they're going to make a list, though, Brian and Jill. I don't think that they're going to want to accommodate anybody to the extent that she wants accommodation, and she's going over the top. And whatever she does get granted, yeah, they're not going to want to do that for somebody else. They're going to let them figure it out. If you're dumb enough to get into that situation, then this is what you get.
Mostly by choice. It's more unusual for them to be by circumstance, which again is an added element to this that we can't just throw out, even if we agree with the decision by the judge. Peter, can this legitimately be considered a fair trial? Legally, yes, but you're seeing the issue. Peter, not literally, Bud, you're not a killer. Yeah, clearly, very clearly. Yeah, good job picking up on that. Britt, they should update access for people representing themselves. However, maybe not be so hard to work with that you have to represent yourself. Do not expect the world to be at your whims. You must bend to the world. So I don't know about always bending to the world, Britt, but I get what you're saying. And that's the point, is this ain't easy. You should have, guess what? All of these things you want, the discovery, the motions, the research, the telephone calls, the witness list, the exhibit list, viewing the exhibits, you had a person trained and dedicated and educated and experienced to do this on your behalf, and you poo-pooed it. That's the problem. And Johanna said she should know how much her attorneys did behind the scenes. Yeah, she was complaining they weren't doing anything, and at least Ms. Cashman really put it on the record how much time she spent with Sarah Boone, and then all the other stuff she did not with Sarah Boone.
Well, she is getting to see what it takes and how long it takes. Everything she's saying takes so long, and she wants to just make direct contact, and she doesn't want letters to be sent in the mail. She just wants it now. But if you're, Sid Serber is a perfect person to, the amendment only covers you for free representation in criminal court. But you know that it takes a long time for a defendant to go through the legal system. Just with, even with a good attorney, a great attorney, it still could take years to get to trial. And she's been slowing it down by filing motions to be in court, to file a motion of a motion for a freaking motion. So I think she really, I think she'll be a Lori Vallow and resort to a sock puppet while she's in there, because the stuff she's doing is just completely out of pocket.
Should the lawyer have been sworn in? No, that's exactly the point. He wasn't a witness, so we don't get sworn in as lawyers when we're making arguments representing people or parties. RS, how can she do case research without internet? So some jails have libraries. Sometimes they have access to certain things. But again, if they gave her limited internet access to just some kind of case law in the docket and email, not unfettered, but maybe she could only email the investigator, the JA, the state. There are ways to do this, guys. And I know people are like, oh, that'll be a nightmare. It's so hard. Honestly, is there anything more important than our freedom?
Nope.
And if we were in this position, what would we want? What would we think is fair?
A Lifetime documentary when I get out, and then we can make a crazy movie about what all the shit I did. I really do think she's looking forward to capitalizing on the people that are following this case. There are millions of people following this case, and she is the main character, folks. Let's be real. So I think she knows that a second-degree murder, I would think she would know by now what a second-degree murder would, the weight that it carries or the length of the sentence. I'm going to look that up while we're playing this and see in Florida what second-degree that's not premeditated murder, what that would carry.
Technology is not that difficult today. Frankly, AI could write these motions for her, right? I mean,
yes.
I'm a proponent of fundamental fairness and justice, and I don't think it's going to create an unjust result. Let her have her time to represent herself and do the job, and then the jury's going to return the verdict the jury's going to return. I just don't want anybody railroaded. And again, that's it. It's kind of my thought on it, but we'll listen to the rest of this hearing.
Housing in the K dormitory?
It's basically the Florida Model Jail Standard 7.12. The officer in charge of designee shall determine what personal items may be kept in the cell or stored with the inmate. However, an inmate shall be allowed to retain a reasonable amount of personal property, including but not limited to his or her legal material, personal hygiene items, writing paper, and writing instrument, and authorized reading materials in reasonable quantities as approved by the officer in charge of designee. Personal items will be kept in an orderly manner.
I get everybody saying I wouldn't have put my boyfriend in a suitcase. I get it. That's not the point, guys. That's not the point. Come on. We have to know that at this point, that's not the point. The point of the justice system is how it affects everybody, not just somebody you think is guilty, because how it affects her is going to affect somebody you think is innocent. And we have watched cases of people you think are absolutely not just not guilty, but innocent of the crime charged. And if this could happen to her, it could happen to them. And that's why it's important that all the rules stay the same, whether we think somebody did something or think that they did not.
Free.
I think they would cover something like this, because I've got people that actually email me and ask me if I'm going to cover this case, and they're starting to feel bad for her in certain situations in shorter hearings that she does. And so they're starting to feel bad, and she can put her spin on it after we all kind of forget about it, that she was drunk. She fell asleep, and look at what happened. She didn't get a lawyer, and etc. Thank you so much, Maurice from Australia. Thank you for bringing up these cases. It's not always subjects that are easy, but you make it easy for us to listen to together. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I'm glad that you're here listening to us from Australia. And thank you, Stella, for gifting a membership. You guys are awesome. You guys are happy Friday. Everybody's in a Friday mood, huh? All right, let's. I don't even know. I was looking up second-degree murder right now, and it gets pretty complicated. So they're giving you they give you a bunch of different circumstances and no real time. It says up to 30 years in prison. So I can't really tell, even under the circumstances. So I think she could be facing up to 25 years for that kind of thing, for second degree murder. Even if it's not premeditated, she could be facing 25 years. And I can't believe she's gambling with her life with this one.
I'm sorry. Fire potential is reduced by limiting the amount of personal property in the cells. So it is the sheer volume of paper, and that is what I need to conduct an evaluation from. Now, in Miss Boone's letter, if you give me one moment. The remaining I can send to the property department, and will purge anything already being stored for easy convenience and extra space. I am willing to see what she's going to purge and send to property, but at the end, I have to reduce any fire liability to the building in order to maintain security and safety for the 399 other inmates that I have here, along with the almost 100 or so assigned staff, civilian and certified.
So some really good comments and questions coming in, and some people are angry, and I get that, and it is what it is. Yeah, but you sound like you want to give her special treatment, and that's missing the point completely, etc. Missing the point completely. That's why I'm saying it's not just about Sarah Boone. It's about everybody. These things I'm talking about, limited internet access, a word processor on the computer, I would want to give to anybody representing themselves. That's what I'm saying. It's not specifically about Sarah Boone. And Boone's Farm said it exactly.
I think he just trying to follow law. He does get a lot of shit. Adam, the first 8 didn't necessarily quit. She fired some of them, and she just would bombard with calls, and they didn't move fast enough, so she'd get rid of them. Some quit, some got fired. We could go back on that and find out the number, but I don't know. What's up, JD Delara? Just know that she's on her 9th lawyer, and that's her. Might get 30. Yeah, she might get 30 years going at this rate as she's going, and she could have got a lot less. We'll see what happens, though. And I don't think her appeals are ever going to win after that. She's going to have to serve out all the time that she gets. She is a complete She's a complete idiot.
Peter, I'm not even considering Sarah Boone. I'm thinking of what this Boone, meaning this person, should have if I am ever accused of a crime, of another crime. When the Constitution was written, there was no internet. The Constitution is the beginning, right? All states have their own statutes and laws and rules and case law, and it is always adapting with the time, right? I'm not saying that rights go away, but I'm saying
people are getting so mad at Pete for just stating the laws. It's pretty funny. He's a lawyer. He's got to say this stuff. Let me go a little bit forward. I know he's on a rant right now. I want to hear her.
And even had others try to help me put it in the bag. I also did not know that they were fire retardant bags. I have the one already at my bunk, and I'm in the process.
So, Velo, they're saying the boxes, I guess, that they come in are a fire hazard, and like they're encroaching on other inmates' spaces with how much paper she has and things like that. They talk about this for a while. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. And they said they'll provide her with some manila envelopes so she can keep it organized and things like that. But I'm going to skip some of this. Kind of boring.
So, ma'am, if the jail was to provide you those manila folders for the hard copies and a third fire retardant bag, is that acceptable?
It is. If I do conclude that I need anything additional in order for them to be able to be held together in regards to some type of rubber band or some elastic.
Can I have rubber bands?
The paperwork together. Is that a possibility?
No. Rubber bands, a big no-no.
I didn't hear the question.
You may have to speak.
Can I have a stapler? How about a staple gun? What about a glue stick? Can I get anything that I'll take what I can get? Seriously though, Maurice, I think the biggest issue is the video. And then after the video, her lying about those big things that she lied about. The big things that she lied about was being drunk because she didn't know they had a video, and then going to sleep. She should have just said that she was drunk and she fell asleep. But yeah, him begging for his life, begging because he couldn't breathe. That is her worst enemy from the beginning. And then she's her second worst enemy.
More clearly into the microphone in front of you, ma'am.
Would I be able to, please, if I needed, to have a type of rubber band or some kind of elastic in order to bind?
No.
And I know, Captain, that you are aware the courtroom is not in regards to the property bags that you all do supply. There's no rigidity to them whatsoever.
Is that
Mr. Chevamel?
Yes.
Could you please provide me with the protocol or policy that you will have a guideline for me to follow, please, in regards to what previous
She hasn't figured out that she's barking up the wrong tree asking him for anything.
say inmates may have had access to and be able to utilize? Do you have anything in writing as a hard copy?
We'll have to check on that. Are you making a public records request?
I'm sorry?
Are you making a public records request?
He's like, go ahead and make a public records request.
I'm unclear of your question. I was just asking if Orange County Corrections Department had any type of guideline that you are accusing me of going above and beyond, other than the pen and paper. So I didn't know.
See, now she's getting back into it again. She's saying, accusing me of something, and he's trying to confuse her by saying, are you making a public record? He knows she doesn't know what she's talking about. So now he's just going to mess with her. And he's also irritated. So this is definitely, this is interesting. And she's guilty of absolute entitlement. It blows my mind. And it blows my mind how she even says elastics. They're just like, no, like how many different ways? You can't have elastic, you can't have a rubber band, you can't have a stapler, you can't have a glue stick, you can't have anything, lady. It's what you get.
You know, if you had a policy or process, and if you have a pro se packet, like JAC has a pro se packet, does Orange County provide something like that?
You have to ask the jail that question. I don't know. I advise from a legal standpoint, and I can certainly tell the jail what the legal standard is. I'm not going to advise you as to what the law is, but I'll certainly advise the jail as to what the legal standard is.
He's like, I'll talk to the jail about it, but I'm not going to talk to you about it. I'm not going to tell you anything.
Yes.
Which again, well within his rights. Maybe the way he says it is not the nicest, but he's not wrong.
Yes, please. Captain, I would be responding to you in regards to that or following up with you, or Sergeant DeJesus.
Ma'am, we don't have any access to that. I don't know anything about what other inmates that are currently pro se get other than that laptop and the information transferred to a USB drive.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And Mr. Chevamel, you repeated that I have access to the court. Could you please define to me what your access to the court is for me?
Yeah, I'm not a witness in this case. I'm really counsel for the jail, so it's really not appropriate to ask me questions. I know I've entertained a few, but
He's like, objection. I don't want to answer that one. I'll answer the ones I want to, but not the ones I don't.
I'm really not required to answer any.
Ma'am, he's not in a position to answer those questions.
Judge is like, nope. Hey, everybody, hit the like button. Hit the like button if you haven't already. But Peter, a reasonable person would have a public defender who could do all the things she's requesting. She put herself in this position. So Sussex Sandra, I will also just tell you, there are really, really great, good, strong, experienced public defenders. There are also some really horrible public defenders that I do believe people think they could represent themselves better. And if that opportunity should arise for somebody that feels like they're innocent and they could do a better job representing themselves, it should not be a death sentence. It should not be a guaranteed loss. Right now, it kind of feels like it is. She's not requesting sophisticated tools, just tools considered basic in 2024, things a second grader uses daily. Hit the nail on the head, Michelle. My kids just started school, have to bring their laptop in, and in 5 minutes, they put all the antivirus software, block all the websites they can't use. They watch their computer, all that stuff in about 5 minutes. Everything's on there. My third grader, uses laptops and computers and tablets and stuff at school. Hi, Peter. What do you think
a bit more forward, but I do want to.
If I may please just make sure.
If I may please, she actually, Krista, you nailed it too. But maybe larger, please. Maybe much bigger. Everything she asks for, she does go above and beyond. Whatever they say, what is that saying? Give somebody an inch and take a mile. That's what she's trying to do. And I was told I could get a piece of cake. #office space. If they gave her space for her stuff in her cell, she would ask for more. She would ask whatever they give her, she's going to ask for more and go. And I don't know if she's doing that on purpose. She wants bigger and more. Unicorn for good measure. Yes, I did watch the 3-hour police interview before they slapped the cuffs on her. 111, by the way. Angel number for all of our victims. Part of them are us, having to listen to 3-hour interview of her. And that poor detective that was pregnant, that was so very irritated by her. So thank you. I hope that answered your question. No, I haven't seen Office Space. I've seen a couple of episodes, but no. I'm a horror fan and a true crimer.
Sure that everyone is aware that I cannot be properly prepared, as you can see now and prior. I just want to make sure that everyone is aware and understands that.
Ma'am, for the reasons that we've discussed previously, I understand that. You're entitled to that opinion as to your pro se representation of yourself. Anything else that we need to address today, ma'am?
Yes, I have a motion that I would like to submit, please.
Okay. Is there anything else that the jail needs to participate in with regard to this hearing?
Captain, would I be following up with you, or who would I be speaking to when I return to the dorm?
In regards to what?
I'm wondering in regards to the guideline and when and how the discovery hard copies, will the property bags be waiting for me when I return?
I will take care of that with my supervisors that are on shift.
Yes.
We will need the cardboard box so that we can dispose of that properly.
Yes, ma'am. And if I may, do you know why it was not approved prior when a supervisor was the one who delivered it to me?
I have no information about even the amount of hard copies. I didn't even know that came into the jail because my conversation has always been that everything would be digitized and that we would have no hard copies so I could be in compliance with the Florida Model Jail Standards, Orange County Fire Marshal, and our policies and procedures regarding excess amount of paper.
So inappropriate.
Yes, ma'am, I understand. Thank you very much for your time. And Sergeant DeJesus and Mr. Chebamel.
Okay, are they free to leave?
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you all very much. Ma'am, you made reference to.
She's so inappropriate for everything. You guys, yeah, I think the best thing you could say is a Karen, but I mean, this is her life at stake here, and she's not only just she's being entitled, but she thinks she's special for some reason, and she's super annoying. Oh my God, like she's gonna just put herself she's digging herself deeper and deeper by doing this. Like someone grants you something, take that what they granted you and be grateful for it. Don't ask for more.
To another motion or something else that you had.
Yes, I have a motion.
Okay, so you can hand it to the deputy behind you. Deputy, can you hand it to the state? State, you can take a look at it, and then I will.
All right, folks, this is a motion that she's trying to file in the middle of a court hearing. She wants to do this right now. It's funny, watch the judges. We're almost done with this. And thank you all for being here for almost 2.5 hours. We went really long today. Most of my mods are probably going to fall off because it's so long. But it's Friday, and I figured we'd just dig into this today. And I won't see you back until Monday. So I'm like, hey, let's spend some extra time on a Friday, lighthearted. It is funny, though. It's rest in peace to George and all the shit he got put through with this lady. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, I don't even want to say what I was about to say. I'm just going to press play.
Hearing on this without JACS.
We'll listen. The judge will tell us what's going on. We're not going to get an answer to this, but we'll hear what this is about.
Date? I don't think court has been provided a motion.
A new motion Sarah Boone just filed.
For payment of costs and appointing neuropsychologists to assist the defendant in preparation of the defense.
She wants a neuropsychologist to assist in the preparation of the defense. They can't do anything without JAC to talk about, they've got the purse strings.
State? I don't think we can have a hearing on this without JACS.
State takes no position. We don't have anything to do with this.
Okay. Ma'am, I can't have a hearing on this today. I will have to coordinate a hearing with JACS to have this heard because this is something that involves them.
Right.
And they haven't even had the opportunity to review it yet.
And they are copied on that as well.
I do see that, but you're hand filing it with me right now.
Right, thank you.
So the court will
copied on that as well, as if it's an email. He's like, yeah, but you just handed this to me. So that's not the way CC works. When you hand me a piece of paper, they don't automatically know about it just because they're copied on it.
We'll file this in the court file and we'll coordinate a hearing as soon as practical with regard to this motion, and it'll be heard.
You're right. The suitcase is a victim in this as well, Paul. So may that suitcase rest in peace in the evidence locker as it collects dust. I have a feeling that suitcase is going to appear in court so that they can show people what a confined space. And of course, when I show you the suitcase video, it gets a little more serious when I do show you the video. People, they're triggered. He's begging for his life. You can hear him saying he can't breathe. So it makes it a lot more real. So bet on that suitcase making it back in the court. And I can't wait to see what she says about it. Wonder what he's seen in her. Well, Meep, he did get arrested 4 times for domestic violence against her. So just saying, I think he choked her and assaulted her many times. I can't imagine why. No, I don't feel bad. I've been laughing the whole time. Yes, poor George, but you got to remember he did get some of his street justice out on her as he was going. Yeah, suitcase has an opinion too. It does have an opinion. It wants to show you how big it was and how little air. He was a piece too. Oh, man. All right. Saturday, 11:10 a.m. I was just asked why I'm LOL. Oh, right. Why are we laughing? Because this lady's loony boony.
Before the end of this week. Anything else, ma'am?
Crime.
Just to confirm, please, for the next deadline for my responsibility to meet would be the August 23rd for the objections to the state's USB drive that they provided.
As identified in the court's order, that is the deadline. The only other deadline, ma'am, is the September 3rd deadline for the viewing of the state's physical evidence, which sounds like that's something that may take place prior to that deadline. As you may recall, you'll have 14 days after that evidence viewing to.
I don't know if Pete's going to play all this, but she asks this multiple times and then asks him to repeat it. Her delusional pixie dust is dosing us. Right. It does every time. I get stuck on her freaking videos. But this time I thought, hey, let's do it with Pete and listen to what he has to say.
To tender any of your objections in writing to the court 14 days thereafter, and that will be extended for good cause shown. Anything else, State?
Nothing, State.
Ma'am, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right. We'll return Ms. Boone back to the custody of Orange County Jail, and we'll coordinate the hearing appropriately. Thank you all very much.
All right.
Forgive me.
We'll get her last statement. I want to answer a couple of these questions, though, because they're good. Peter, why don't you advocate for changing / All
right, we're not going to talk about
what they can't.
I want to listen to her last questions. Hold on. Listen to this.
Said that from the jump.
Loony boony.
All right, just so for recap purposes, with regard to the motions to intervene as first addressed this afternoon, the court orders that the defendant has failed to meet the burden of producing evidence. And
all right, so then he just kind of recaps what we already know, what we already saw from the hearing. Peter,
It actually was funny what he recapped, folks, though. I'm going to show you real quick before we head out. I want to show you the space of the apartment real quick so that you can get an idea. I really wanted to get this in there today, and it's only like a few minutes. So, and that ended abruptly. In the actual video, the raw footage, she makes him recap it a couple of times for each person. I think that's why he ended up just stopping it, because it's annoying but funny. Wednesday, I had a feeling that you were here and you were doing something. Napping is a good it's a good thing to be doing. All right, let's take a look real quick. They're gonna show this space.
That suitcase. Tonight, for the first time, I'm going to take you inside that home, because those new tenants have been kind enough to invite us in and show us where, in fact, this happened, because it was news to them that that's where they were living, and that's where they are living. Not only that, but we have something else that's exclusive and new for you. That's Alex Capriello on your screen right there, walking into that murder scene. But the first person that Sarah Boone called when she awoke from her drunk stupor, and this is her story, not mine, as police told us, first person she called when she came downstairs from the drunk night and realized that Jorge was, dead in the suitcase, was not 911. It was her ex-husband. And so tonight, for the first time, he's talking to us. And we have some exclusive reporting on what that ex-husband said about the conversation and said about Sarah and said.
So this is only like 3 minutes long. It'd be great if you hear this and then check out the apartment and the size of it. It looks a lot bigger with the suitcase there, but it's actually really confined. And Jay, she didn't say she left a finger opening. I think she did say she left a finger opening. If you listen to all the video, the 3 hours, she did say that she thought there was an opening for him to get out. I swear she did. Yeah, she did indeed say that. All right.
Said about the child that they have together. I want to bring in that intrepid reporter, News Nation correspondent Alex Capriello. He is live from outside of that crime scene tonight. Man, oh man, you get the goods. I just saw you knocking on that door. They invited you in. You have exclusive first-time access to this murder scene. So just start there. Start with the walking me through the scene that you walked into, and tell me what they told you.
Yeah, it was a bit surreal, right? Coming to this exact spot, knowing what happened here. We've seen the videos on TikTok and obviously on News Nation as we've covered this story, but actually being here and walking through that door was a completely different experience. The Garcia family actually lives here right now. They moved in September 2021, about a year and a half after Sarah Boone was arrested.
I wonder if they get a special discounted rate for that. What do you guys think? Think they get like $200 off for being in the apartment where the suitcase killer was? Or you think they have to pay more for being at such a wonderful place for us horror? Well, we're not horror, but true crime. I'm a horror fan. And if they've rented out the Jeffrey Dahmer house before for like the weekend, I'd probably go there just because, because that's who we are, who I am. Carly and I joked about going. I told her I'd go halves with her on the Chad Daybell house. That's for sale. She said the suitcase was a zip enough for him to get a finger out. Yeah, she did say that. Something about a finger space. Let's go a little forward. I don't care about all that. I just want to see the inside of the house with you guys. I think look at his face. Starts at 3 minutes. All right, there it is.
Got a chance to go inside this apartment, look for it, look at it myself, compare it to the videos that we've been seeing online, that infamous now cell phone video that police have that shows Jorge Torres suffocating inside of that suitcase while his girlfriend, Sarah Boone, was just taunting him, laughing. And actually seeing it firsthand, Ashley, is completely different. But kudos to the Garcia family. They're really braving it out. They are following this trial very closely now. They've been watching all the videos on TikTok. They're watching News Nation right now as we speak and all this coverage, because now they are way closer to this case than they probably ever would have imagined.
I can imagine what it would have been like. And it's very kind of the Garcias to let us take a look. As a crime reporting show, it's very important to try to get as close.
I
Friend
think that's
Jorge,
all they're going to show.
Sarah.
I have to watch out.
Sarah.
They're going to, I almost feel like they're gonna have to put that the suitcase in there and show somebody of his size to get in there and see how confined, because all of us would absolutely say that we would fight our way out of that. But if she got him to get in where he couldn't, where his hands were restricted, that's the only way I could think of not being able to get out of that. Because you can see it kind of moving up and down and him moving, but why doesn't he freaking like fight his way out of that? They're going to have to show us that. And yeah, that carpet's disgusting. What did they put their motorcycle in there and change the oil in the living room? It makes me wonder. Winter Park, home of Redlick case. The case, so controversial. I wish I knew what that was. I'll have to look it up. Redlick Theat. Huh. All right. Seeing the suitcase in the video is upsetting. Yeah, it is. But it also, doesn't it make you wonder why he didn't like move or thrash, or, I mean, he didn't do anything except for that. So she must have put, when he got in there, his hands must have been like located somewhere where he couldn't move them. I don't know. They're gonna have to show that, I feel.
Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
That's on you.
Sarah, I can't breathe.
It's on you.
Sarah.
Real ransom. Might want to get video for it extra.
What?
Because I got this.
Sarah.
Real ransom.
Sarah. Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
Oh. That's what I feel like when you ching on me.
Sarah.
Thank you for watching. Go.
All right, folks. We bared through it, and that's a big version of me. All right, so no, I can't take listening to him call her name. Yeah, Jorge, well, George, but they call him George and Jorge. That was his name. And, well, you saw it now, Paul. We saw it, and she wasn't drunk at all. She was hooped up on goofballs. She's definitely intoxicated. But you know what? That's actually a better defense than her saying that she wasn't intoxicated and that she was perfectly normal and they were just hanging out. So that's Daisy's mom. He had to have been in a fetal position with his hands locked down the side. Like when she got him to get in there, or they decided to get in there, he had to have been constricted with his hands, because there's no way you wouldn't fight yourself out. George was a tiny man and tiny enough to fit in the suitcase, but how were his hands? I mean, if I got into a suitcase, I wouldn't put my hands so where they couldn't be free. I wouldn't get in the suitcase, okay? And yeah, you're right, Censor. Drugs are bad, okay? Okay. All right. Come to Arizona. It's like 30 minutes from my home. I'm like 30 minutes from home. What is 30 minutes from where? Huh? He was so crammed in there, no space. I think he had no leverage. He absolutely didn't have any leverage, or he would have got himself out. Adam, yes, you are way too big to fit into a suitcase. You don't need to worry about that. And you're also way too smart for that. Way too smart. And Wednesday, Ophelia, if you can email me, Paul would like me to share his information with you to send you an email. So I don't know if you saw my email. It's guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com. All right, y'all. It is very important to never put your hands in a position when you get into a suitcase when you're playing sex games. And we're at 2 hours and 37 minutes. Wow. All right. And there's so much more to this case. I love you all. Happy Friday. I'm going to miss you this weekend, but probably not enough to stream because I'm really tired from the week. But I do love you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the support this week. It's been a rough one, but I love you all. Have a good night.
Guilty of crime. I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
guilty of crime.